click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 136. Quite fitting. 136, sat next to Mr. 136.
He's actually going with this. Sorry, I'm just sitting here talking about red diesel and chugging up the road, and I'm thinking, and I thought you were just doing a demo run there. So let's continue.
Welcome, Peter Hickman. How's it going?
I'm all right, thank you very much. I'm good.
The fastest road racer in the world with an Ulster Grand Prix, 136 average in it.
136.415, yeah.
Right.
Most people know me as 135 because they think of TT.
Guess?
No, it wasn't a guess. No, I actually know. It's quite sad, really, isn't it?
Wait, no. If I did that lap speed, I'd have it tattooed on my forehead, mate. I'm telling you that for a fact.
And this isn't the first time we've been on the you've been on the show. We did do a podcast back sort of halfway through 2019 when we just first started the podcast. And I remember, I think you were probably our first big guest. And Dom came down.
It was Forrest Dunn. Then you know
Dom came down. Because we were racing at Donington, and
right.
we did it in your the motorhome, and you were working in Scotland, and you drove down specifically for it. I remember.
Yeah, you didn't have this beast back then, did you?
I know. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's good.
It was Lundy kitted this out. No,
did he? Yeah, I know Lundy.
I tell you what, we should get him commission for him, because every time we get a guest in, we go, "Oh, Lundy did this. Lundy did this." He's no fool, is he? That man.
He definitely needs a logo somewhere, and you definitely need paying for it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Get it sorted.
Get it sorted, Lundy.
This is it doubles up on race weekends. You can get two super bikes in there.
Yeah.
And then this turns into a double bed.
Ideal.
So
did you see his eyes light up? You know, his new business is selling motorcycles for a living. He's like, Chrissy, come with me. I'll sell you a couple of bikes, no problem at all. So I was just about to say what you've been up to, but I think you've been slowly taking over the world, haven't you? Let's face it. We've got a lovely tour around your brand new estate. Not even a building. It's an estate. It's massive. So yeah, tell us more about that. What?
I was just thinking we should have brought a GoPro with you to go through it, but I'm actually going to do probably a bit of a YouTube. Once it's all properly up and running, I'm going to do a bit of a tour, because we did a Hickey workshop tour during lockdown, and it went down really, really well. That was at my old unit, which I still have, but this is obviously the new place, and not many people have seen it apart from the customers that have been here already or people I already know. Then no one's actually really seen it, so I'm still on the same industrial estate in Louth, but yeah, full new place, and we're a one-stop shop. That's the idea, although that's a bit crappy sounding, isn't it? One-stop shop.
Wait, no.
but it sounds a bit cheap. I'm going to figure out a better tagline, I think.
Wait, well, you're definitely not in the cheap end. This is like the Beverly Hills of industrial estates.
Beverly Hills of Louth.
I mean, that's it. But normally you go to a motorcycle garage, don't you? And you get around the corner from Betty Baps or rechargeadildo.com or something dodgy on the sides of those. But down here, on the front page here, Chrissy, there's tool station, there's screw fix, you got Halfords around the corner, and bang in the middle, Peter Hickman Racing. Before, is that right?
PHR, yeah, well, it's PHR Performance, which is Peter Hickman Racing, but yeah, PHR Performance is the actual company name, but yeah, it's like I say, it's a full one-stop shop. We've got suspension service with a dedicated suspension guy in here, which is James Wood. Been around the paddock a long time, worked for many of the top brands. Loads of people in the paddock will know who James or Woody is.
So you've got him chained to a desk.
Yeah, pretty much. He's chained in there. He's not allowed to leave. So we've put him away for Christmas now, so that's all good. We'll let him loose again on January the 4th. We've got a graphics guy in, which is Darren Havercroft, which is DHP signed, so that's really cool as well. The dyno's going in with Pete Clifford, who's my electronics guy from BSB, which is Active Horse Racing.
Jesus.
So yeah,
he's relocating down the country.
Yeah, so he's relocating to here to be in with us,
right?
Because he does workshop work as well, but I think he's pretty much had enough of all the workshop work. He just wants to work on a dyno.
Is he originally Doncaster based?
Ish, yeah. So he's Barnaby top, so he's this side of Hull. Oh, so he's actually only about 40 minutes from here, but yeah. So we've got a dedicated dyno going in as well. So we will be a one-stop shop for everything. So we've got the workshop, engine room where we can tune as well, because Dave also does gas flowing, does his own cams, all that sort of stuff. So we can actually do everything, including paint. Paint is around the corner, who paints our FHO bikes. So yeah, it can roll in as a road bike, and can roll out as a race bike, however you want it looking, with whatever suspension you want, dynoed, flashed, tuned. whatever you need.
You're busy lad these days, and on top of that, racing yourself and all the Varley stuff as well.
Yeah, Varley stuff. We've got merchandise. Yeah, everything.
So when we first had you on the podcast, I think you just like basically agreed to do the Varley thing, but you hadn't even had bikes yet. I don't think.
Yeah.
It was basically just an idea. Where that's over the last sort of few years, that's developed into something really cool, hasn't it? In this country.
Yeah. So it's only been going just over 2 years. So I started November 19 was when the company, or when Varley UK was created, if you like, when we started to actually order bikes. And we've done 130, 140 bikes in that time, which is way more than I ever imagined or even wanted to do.
What was the premises like? What was the idea thinking 20, 30?
I genuinely thought if I did 25 or 30 bikes in my first year, that would be enough, because I didn't really want it to be a massive thing, especially not to start with.
Yeah.
The whole idea behind it was to have a race series that was fair for kids. That's it. And it was a series that's not about money. Okay, the bikes are more expensive than a lot of the other bikes on the market.
I'm very lucky that I've ridden one of those, but the quality, I'm not just saying this to kiss your ass across the table here, but you can actually, well, you've seen it as well, Chrissy, the actual build quality in it is there.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, you do open the page and go, geez, that's a lot of money, but it's like everything, you get what you pay for, and the quality is there, even like the chain adjusters, man.
Everything about them is just nice.
Oh.
They've been well thought out. Yes, they still run a Chinese engine like what most pit bikes and stuff do and all that kind of thing. They are slightly different. There's a different spec in the Ovalie bikes, or Ovalie engines are actually an Ovalie spec engine, which most people probably don't know or don't believe. They believe whatever they want to believe. They think the bikes are made in Singapore, I've heard recently, China, wherever they want to think that they're made, but they're actually made in Italy, because I've been to the factory, I've seen where it's made. Yes, there's Chinese parts, as there is in pretty much everything that you ever buy nowadays, whether it be your mobile phone, a car, a bike, whatever it is. A lot of the parts are made in China anyway. But the bikes are good, you know, and the biggest thing about it was it's not checkbook racing. It's, you know, the engines are sealed, you can't touch them. We're the only company that can touch them. So if you've got a problem, unfortunately, you've got to take your engine out, box it up, send it to us, give it to us, however it is. We then sort it out, fix it, and then seal it back up again so you can't touch it. Cool. So everybody's the same. Whether you've got good experience, a lot of experience, no experience, every rider's in the same level playing field.
Yeah.
And is that running 110s, 140s and 190s?
So the 110s, 160s and 190s. Right. So we started the championship with just the 110s to start with the aim of having 15 riders on the grid by the end of 2020. We actually had 14 at round one. We would have had 15, but young Kobe broke his collarbone the week before, which was unfortunate for him. But we actually had 15 entrants at round one. By the end of the year, we're at 25.
Yeah.
So
speaking of like just sealed engines and like not letting the dads just sort of tamper with them, that's such a good call, because I remember doing the mini bike stuff, and you know, like you get them super keen dads that like spend every night after work sort of like doing everything they possibly can, and then the kids have the bikes nipping up on them all the time just to try and get like an extra horsepower. So just to sort of even it off, and just like it's a good call, definitely.
Yeah, child services brain on their doors going, your son has a net for a week, he's got a big competition on the weekend. He's a big competition. He needs to lose. He's getting a bit chunky.
And in terms of the competition running through, I seen towards the end of this year they had a big like Ovalie, was it like a world championship race or something at Valencia for the final GP? And I seen you and Brian took some kids over from like the UK and Ireland. What was that all about, and like how did it go?
Yeah, so building on from the first year of 110s in the UK, we then introduced the 160 class, which is for 2021 as well. Now the 160 bike actually is the same bike as a 110, just with a different engine, carburetor, clutch cable, that sort of thing, engine brackets obviously, but the actual base bike's the same. So again, going back to the cost thing, it's about, you can buy that bike as a 110, run it as an 8-year-old for 2 to 3 years, and then move into the next class by just changing your engine in a few bits. You've not actually got to buy a new bike, and you're riding the same bike you've always ridden. So it really does become cost effective over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
The 160 class this year was introduced with the FIM, Dorna, have massively pushed behind it, with Ovalie of course as well. And the idea was that as many championships as they could across the world from different countries, each national championship ran to the same rules, and then the top 3 from each nation then got to go to Valencia. You had to get yourself there, but once you were there, everything was free. So they gave you a bike, they gave you wheels, they gave you tyres, fuel. There was no entry fee, You got a garage, all your spare parts. So if you crash the bike, all the spares were sat there ready. There was technical staff on hand. There was 30 or 33 riders from 11 countries. They made a new track so that nobody had prior knowledge of the circuit. So they actually tarmacked a new track, go-kart track, just for this race to run.
Wow.
There was people from Asia, America, the UK, Italy, France. There was German, Spanish, and pretty much all. If you go on my Facebook or the Val UK Facebook, you'll see I did a little run through of all the garages. So everyone got a pit box. Everyone got given a mechanic if they needed it, if they didn't have their own, all that sort of stuff.
That is a proper dangling carrot.
It's huge. Everyone got given leathers, helmets, boots, gloves, every single rider that was there.
You literally turned up with your flip-flops off the plane and then that was it.
You got given a toolbox with all the tools in it, the whole lot for every single rider.
And the kid that won it, did he annihilate everyone, or was it quite close?
He won quite a bit anyway, but it was never that he could just clear off and disappear.
Was he Spanish or Italian?
He was Spanish. Yeah, in fact, the top 2 to 3 were nearly Spanish, so the Spanish were strong. But to be quite honest, I was really impressed by everyone else, not just from the UK side, but from every nation. That everyone had at least one rider that was quite strong, and was close enough. You know, nobody was kind of 3 seconds off the pace. You know, everyone was actually a lot closer than what I expected. We were probably a little bit unfortunate that Harley McKay broke his wrist the week before, which was a real big shame, which was our championship winner from the UK. And I think with the nature of the track that they designed, which was basically a mini Valencia, they pretty much copied the main track, slightly different, but pretty much copied it and made it smaller. I think it would have really suited his style with the way that he rides, and I think he'd have definitely, for me, he'd have been in the top 3 from looking at where everyone else was. I think he'd have been in the top.
So is that your pick for the future?
Yeah, I mean, Harley's been strong anyway. He won our 110 class in that first year. He won the 160 class this year. He ran his own bike, but with a 140 engine in it as well, and ran in the 140 class at B&B and won that, even on an Ovale. So he's been strong. He's been running the Moto3 class with the Michael Laverty team, because he's a Michael Laverty rider, so he's already been kind of picked up by Michael and the gang there.
Wow.
And been doing a bit of Moto3 British Talent Cup. So he's a good little rider. He's still quite young. He's still only 12. Is he 13? He might be 13 now, but yeah, he's a good little rider. Got a good head on his shoulders, so I think he'd have done really well there. It was really disappointing that he didn't get, he did all that work and he didn't get to do the final bit. Having said that, they still invited him, and he went.
That's good.
And he still got given the leathers and the helmet, and it's just cool. It's just nice that they did that sort of thing for him, even though he didn't get to actually ride. Unfortunately,
was one of the Irish lads really competitive as well?
Really, really good. Yeah. It was Josh. Josh's name is, O'Brien. He did a mega job. Really kind of pulled it out of the bag. Not that we were not expecting it, but we weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And he really kind of pulled it out of the bag. He was on the podium in one of the main point scoring races. Was actually in the final. He was running second place for quite a bit of it. He ended up 5th. But he ran really, really well. He was really impressive to see, and good to see the Irish side as well. So again, going from the UK, I've actually set up an Irish company to then pull into the Irish market to try and get them a championship as well. Especially with Ireland being quite secluded, there's not as big a pool as what there is over here of riders or tracks but there's still a massive following for bikes and racing.
Huge passion
in Ireland. Yeah, whether it's Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, it doesn't make any difference. Everybody's really into bikes. So with Brian, I set the company up at the start of the year. Bought in
Brian McCormack.
Brian McCormack. Yeah, so we bought 20 bikes into the country, which was a big chunk of money. And then we actually had 13 riders on the grid this year in the FIM class over there, which was really cool. And
bloody hell.
Josh was one of them, along with Hamilton and I'm trying to think now. I've got my head's gone, but yeah, the top 3 anyway from Ireland. That's obviously amazing. Came across.
In terms, we're talking
Verity. About the young lad was Verity.
There it is.
in terms of the passion side of the things for the sport, this podcast actually does really well in Ireland. I think we're usually about between 3rd to 5th or 6th in the UK, where we're quite regularly top in the automotive category in Ireland. So yeah, I think and obviously with especially the road racing side of things, you know, in terms of like the passion of the country, it's probably
it's massive.
Yeah, it's like the home of genuine road
yeah,
racing.
and the kids over there got to race in some really cool places like Mondello when the Mondello Masters was on. So like they actually used the main circuit, not the whole thing, but they used quite a lot of it. So all the start and finish. So that them kids that are all between 10 and 14 years of age all raced in front of the superbike class in Ireland.
Wait, you did the same thing over here with BSB, didn't you, Stuart Higgs?
Yeah.
And you had that Cadwell Park, which is the first time I've personally seen that sort of like system go to play, and it went down an absolute storm. Time
cool,
sheets.
wasn't it?
Was,
I
it
was cool.
I think for the
Absolutely
kids,
class.
for the kids to be out like on pit lane and sort of just building very like loose connections with superbike teams
People
and like
working,
just
BSB lads working on their bikes,
yeah, like
and
borrowing
everything.
stuff and things. It's them sort of you know, then they might add each other on Facebook, and then it can be something like that, like a relationship that can go on for years, isn't it? And like you'll remember when
Absolutely.
you first started racing and you kind of meet people a little bit higher up in the ladder, and then it's connections is everything in this sport, isn't it? So like
You know yourselves.
yeah, fair play to you.
I'm still
for sort of-
waiting. I'm still-
fair play for you to sort of organising that, because yeah, it is really cool. And in terms of the sport as a whole for the UK and Ireland, it's brilliant what you're doing. Like it really is. So
Well, it's massive, and a big thanks really needs to go to Stuart Higgs, Alan Lord from BNB, the ACU, Paul, who did a great job in getting the ACU involved a little bit as well, because we've not had that from a junior racing point of view. It's all been kind of IOPD and kart stuff. It's not really ACU, and now the ACU are really kind of sitting up and taking notice a little bit, which is exactly what we need in this country, because we've not had it.
Because like you say, Alan's running it like a tighter and tighter championship, and it's
Yeah.
going from strength to strength to strength.
Yeah, you know what, he's still learning as well, you know,
God,
as it
aye.
goes along. He's not been running it that long, and, you know, there's always things to improve. There's always things we want to do from a championship point of view, from a rules point of view, from a running perspective, everything about it, you know, it's not easy to do. And, you know, he's learning lots, but he's doing a really good job. And we ran at places like Pembury this year, which was cool. Cadwell Park. We did also Stowe Circuit at Silverstone when the MotoGP was on, which was really cool as well. So the championship's only going to get bigger and stronger, and it's just, for me, I'm just really happy that the kids have got something really safe, cool, and not about money. So the person who wants, you know, Harley's not got the biggest wallet out there, or his dad's not got the biggest wallet out there, yet he's managed to win a 110 championship and a 160 championship. That just proves its point. It was down to talent, not how big your checkbook is, which is exactly what I wanted.
So if anyone that's wanting to say get involved in the series next year, is the best place just Overally UK on all the social media?
Yeah, any of the social medias, look for Overally UK. You can go through my website, which is peterhickman.net. It is on there, but it's probably a little bit more difficult to find, but there is a menu on there, which is Overally UK, of course, but social media is normally the best place of doing it.
I tell you what, though, before we move on from that subject back to the Empire, you know, it's a case of like, I think personally, your own involvement with all the other lads, like where was it when they had all the riders, like all the grown-ups really, and we just started smashing. Like James Hilly was there, James Ellison, yourself. It was just an absolute born estimate. The names are just popping. Kyle Ride. There's loads of top lads, and the thing is, it just shows how the competitive nature of a motorcycle rider. We're all turning around, yeah, we've got a big season ahead of us, lads. Let's all just take our time, and the fact that it just shows that we don't really all grow up.
No, never.
It's
well, that 190 class is for 12 upwards, so anyone 12 upwards. So
it was just absolute chaos. No, but in the most fun way ever. But like you say, the fact that you're not just, there's a brand and it looks like anything. You know, when a rider gets in something, everyone thinks there's money involved. The fact that you're getting on your own product, having a laugh and showing the way by leading from the front goes a long way, and that is refreshing to see.
I tell you what, a great.
I'm trying to get an Ovali out of him.
I was going to say he's kicking me under the table at the same time.
Give me a point. Give me a point.
I tell you what, you've got nailed, is because I remember when Dom first got on one. Because we were kind of back from that podcast, we were kind of talking about like, oh, you like it was a new thing at the UK. Are you going to get one? Are you going to get one? Dom went out on one, got his elbow down, and came back. He's like, I'm getting one. I'm 100% getting one. I got my elbow down. I didn't crash.
Honestly, I did. Oh no!
It did crash.
No, don't,
it was the first time my bike had ever been crashed as well. I'd had it for about 8 months. Dom had it for literally 5 minutes, and it'd been down the road.
It was far from my proudest moment.
I reckon actually that's the only reason that he actually bought a bike is the guilt, the guilt that he had.
100%. I'm like, I'll buy one off you, Peter. And I bought it, loved it, and ironically, I never crashed it. And I went, oh shit, I've got to pay for like big boy tyres now, so I had to get rid of it. I'm gutted, absolutely gutted, and I'm desperate for another. So it's a 2 hour. I'm hoping this is gonna last 2 hours. You're gonna have a dead shin by the time I've kicked you enough. You know what I mean? Just boom, boom. Well, there we go. So I'll tell you what. Let's quickly go back to what you've been doing. I think you've got to stress how much work you've actually put into this. You've kind of gone, we've got this, we've got that. That was an empty unit. How long ago? Like
February.
Like
yeah.
totally empty, and you've gone from the ground up. It is incredible, mate, in there. It really is.
Yeah, it's the steel work, all the woodwork and everything. Yeah, it's it was just an empty shell. So it was about a 3,000 square foot box as an empty shell, and now it's probably about 7,000-ish. We've got 2 floors at the back, a mezzanine all the way down one side as well. So it's a pretty big old place now.
So basically, when you're not racing yourself and like not doing like the NEC shows and that sort of thing, are you just flat out with your business?
Yeah,
prepping bikes.
Yeah, a bit of everything really. So yeah, I've got fingers in pies all over the place, I know, but yeah, it's tough. But you know what? While everything's going good, you've got to do what you can to, you can't race forever, and I really want to, but I can't. So I want to build something that's going to keep me in bikes, because I love bikes, when I finish racing. So it was I had an opportunity to do it, so I just took it.
And speaking of, so you were saying like this area, Louth, I remember, I think we were talking about in the last time you were on the podcast about you used to live in your RV thing at Cadwell, which is obviously close. Yeah. Are you originally from around here as well?
Not originally, no. I was Burton-on-Trent, so I was a Stafford boy originally. Oh, yeah, till I was 10 years old. Lived in Swadlincote, Swaddy.
Never mind.
Never mind. Not all perfect.
I don't know that area.
Put it this way, it's posh from where we're from.
So. And then moved...
Ashby de la Zeus area.
Yeah, that'd have been that area.
So
then I moved over here when I was 10, because my mum and dad obviously moved over here, and then which was about 20 minutes, half an hour further down, a little place called Willoughby, outside of a place called Alford. So I've been kind of Lincolnshire really ever since. I did live in Leeds actually for a year or two for a bit, and then back into the motorhome, Cadwell Park for a while. Now I'm next to my unit.
Living the dream, lad. Yeah. Living the dream.
Do you still live in your camera?
Yeah, I still live in the RV.
I don't bloody blame him. This work.
That is actually. Do you know sometimes when you like just have like little pipe dreams about what you would like in the future? My dream. Is
this the start? Like, is this the trailer? The start with the bed and all?
Yes,
that?
Yeah,
this is a nightmare for me.
My absolute dream is to have. I quite like them fifth wheels with like a
Dodge Ram or something.
Yeah, like what Brooksy's got.
Yeah.
Something like that, and then to race on weekends, and then go drive up to like the Lake District and like live and train and live in an RV, and then go back to the racetrack, and then through the winter take it out to Andorra or skiing things. I think that would be like the absolute dream life.
That was nearly what I did. So I nearly bought a fifth wheel. I was close to buying a fifth wheel. So the good thing with a fifth wheel is obviously once you've parked up, you can jump in your truck and go down to the shops or whatever you need. You can go and do it. With an RV, it's a little bit more difficult because
you're looking at Tesco.
Yeah, with a 15-ton RV, going, can I just park in there, please, and take about 14 spaces up? But I nearly did the fifth wheel thing, but I went down the RV route in the end. But and I've still not had a chance to actually take it properly abroad. I've done Le Mans. 24-hour a couple of times, and I've taken it there because you definitely need a bed and a shower when you're doing a 24-hour race, let me tell you.
Yes.
But I've not, apart from that, it's not actually and Assen, of course, it's not really been back into Europe. But it was, funny enough, it was Toslands originally. So and obviously James was on the show a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah,
but it was actually James's RV. He bought it originally. So he brought it into the UK.
So did you just step in and go, where do I put this piano?
Yeah. Funny enough, there was a piano-shaped space in the corner. I wondered what.
There we are. You're sick. There we go. I tell you what, I'm sitting here looking at you, trying to wrap my brain like where we left the last pod off and what's actually happened between that timeline and that. Obviously, we've discussed the O'Varley, the fact that you've started up the one-stop shop.
I don't want it to be a one-stop shop, but I think so, it is a one-stop shop.
It's perfect that though. You're not darting around all the country, just one stop.
yeah, you can literally do the whole lot. Yeah.
There we go. So I'm trying to think. So you've done that. It's a bit like we left there. So I'm trying to.
Well, basically,
did we do the old? He did the 136.
Yeah, so
How do we
basically,
interview at that point?
since our last interview, that's been the sort of covers the whole COVID period of road racing.
Pretty
so like,
much, yeah.
I feel like so by the time the TT comes around this year, it'll be almost 3 years since you were last there. A good time just to go onto the road racing side of things. So if you're looking ahead into this year's TT. First of all, if 100 was like absolute certain and 0 is definitely not, where are you in terms of if the event will run?
I am over 90% sure it'll happen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it'll happen. You know, I think for a number of different reasons that are mainly out of my hand, but, you know, the Isle of Man needs it, I think, for a start.
Yeah.
And we all just need to go back to normal, right? Like, why are we still going around in circles about something that will never disappear and never go away? And we all need to just get on.
Do you know, in terms of the
100%.
psychology of the whole thing, like, I think everything's a bit odd and a bit off at the moment, and like people's views. But if you could wind time back and go back to and say, like, describe the situation we're in now and describe like the measures that are getting taken, you would think it's like some kind of like just like weird universe. I mean, like right now with the people are learning about this, the Omicron thing all the time, but it's sort of looking like a real mild strain, and to even consider sort of not going to TT like in this summer is. Yeah, like you say.
By which point there'll be another variant anyway. Exactly. Probably another 2 by that time. Because we're like 6 months away, aren't we? So
but I really hope we can just learn to live with it. I think it's
we've got to, haven't we? Yeah. Whether you like it or not, you know, if you don't want to catch it, there is one simple thing: don't ever leave your house and don't ever talk to anyone ever again. If you're not,
but then the rest of us.
The rest of us, just get on. You know, you've got to get on with it. Well, unfortunately, there's going to be obviously damage along the way. People are going to get very ill or worse, and that's unfortunately life, isn't it?
It's Mother Nature, isn't it?
It is,
that is the bottom line of it. But I'll tell you what, before we venture fully down the roads route, you know, I think we just need to talk about like the domestic side a bit. We were talking about it. When does the BSB Championship start? Because over the last COVID years, it started late. Now, have you been a fan of that? The fact that it started later?
Not particularly, no. I like riding my bike.
No, but like with the weather kind of like it's British weather, you know, you could turn up in May, it could be cold. You know, is that being beneficial?
One of the big things that's changed is the fact that there's no official BSB testing anymore, and there's all the testing bans. So really, like last year we had something like 5 or 6 BSB UK days. About 3 of them were you could actually ride on them. That time it
Snetterton was horrendous. Wasn't it?
3 days of basically just sat around drinking coffee. But the whole season's been a bit more delayed. Tell you what, we'll come back to the road race and we'll talk about BSB for a bit. So in that time, I was just having a quick look through your results actually over the last few years, and it kind of goes you had a pretty strong year and then a poor year and then a really good year last year, but it's kind of like bear in mind it was all on the BMW, same sort of team. It's like quite up and down really, isn't it?
It has been, yeah.
We'll go back to when the new bike came out, because that was like quite a disappointing year really. There was a lot of hype about it.
Yeah, there was.
So the 2020 year.
Well, it would be 19. So 19 was the first year of the new bike, or the Gen 4 as most people call it, which is called a K67 if you want to know. That's its actual model.
Really?
Yeah, it's called a K67. The one before was a K46. How they got from 46 to 67, I have no idea. And what's even more confusing is the new M is a 66. So they've gone back one number.
Melted my head officially.
Well, there you go. Anyway, so you got K46, which is a Gen 3, which is from 15 to 18. Then you got a K67, which is from 19 to 21, because obviously the S is still going, even though you can now buy an M1000RR, and an M1000R is a K66. So there you go. There's a little bit of info for you. 19 was the first year, and it was a really good year. We got the bike 28 days before round 1, which is not a lot. Definitely not a lot when you've got to backtrace all your wiring loom and everything to run it on Motec. It's got a shift cam system which is completely different to everything else on the grid, so that also doesn't work by overnight magic. So the team did a massive job to get the bike actually ready even for round 1 with basically no testing. And actually I think I had a pretty decent year. We had a podium on it. I finished 6th in the championship. We made the showdown, which at the time would have been my with 3rd year in a row making the showdown. Top BMW for 3 years in a row, the only BMW in the showdown in front of the official team, which was obviously mega for us. We ran a standard engine all year, everything, including the Northwest, including the TT, which I know we're not talking about road racing right now, but when you think about it, I did 134.2 mile an hour standing start at the TT after I think I'd done 6 laps on the bike tops. Wow. I'd done 4 laps on it. I'd done 5 laps on it, so my 6th lap ever on that bike around the Isle of Man TT was 134.2 mile an hour standing start with a stock motor on a bike we didn't really even know, because we only got it in April and that was June. Yeah, we got it on the 28th of March, I think it was, in 19, so it was really, really late.
Of course, sorry, you know what, I had it totally in the back of my mind that you haven't been round the Isle of Man on a Gen 4, but you have.
I have.
Of course you have, yeah, you have. I don't know why, that just,
yeah.
It's that famous photo that you've got in the back of your mid-photo of that, when you're just sliding out.
That's 18, that is.
That was 18.
Like, yeah.
That's why I'm thinking people haven't been there on that, but...
Yeah, we have, yeah.
You have,
and you were leading the senior by quite a bit that year as well, weren't you? And you had did you find out what the technical problem
was?
we
knew what it was. We didn't know at the time. We actually found it probably only a week or so later. But again, the bike was so new, we were still learning.
And you still finished second that race as well?
I still finished second, yeah. I had to do 2 laps on half throttle and no more than 11,000 RPM. That's what I had to do. So I don't actually know what lap time I did. I think something like 128 mile an hour on the final lap. That was it.
I was faster than Peter Hickman in the last lap. Like, can we rename this pod? Like, on the last lap, you were my bitch. Yep.
But yeah, I did 2 laps, no more than 11,000 RPM and no more than half throttle. Otherwise, it would just chuck water out. So people kept thinking it was overheating. It wasn't overheating, and that was what was really confusing. So it would throw water out like it was overheating, but it wasn't overheating. It would then overheat because it's lost water.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually a water problem. I don't actually want to say what it is.
Yeah,
we know exactly what it is, and what happened, and that's why it's not done it since.
Yeah.
It was something really kind of unusual.
Right.
The best way of describing it is the engine was pulling itself apart and then pressurising the water system.
Right.
Is basically what it was doing.
So I'm trying to think of the team transfer, because it was Smith. Was that still Smith's racing at this point?
It was, yeah.
This is before the Fayho handover,
Yeah,
wasn't
I was riding for Smiths until the end of 2020.
That's it. How are the Smith family doing?
Good. I saw them only last week. Yeah. Rebecca and Max, yeah, they've had a baby, little Iris, who I am actually the godfather for, which is a little bit scary for a start.
Is that your biggest responsibility?
That is definitely the biggest responsibility I've ever had. When she sent me the text, I was like, have you sent this to the wrong person? But yeah, so I've been down a couple of times a bit more recently because of that, actually. That's as well.
Cool.
So which is really cool, actually. And the mega family spent a lot of money in our paddock and in our industry, and we all, I think, have a lot to thank for. I definitely do, as I rode for them for so long.
Yeah.
For 4 years, and to be part of their journey in bike sport was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've got a really daft question, and I can already hear the answer, but do they miss it?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
They're very good at not really letting on what they really feel.
Right. Because you can imagine.
But I would say yes.
How could it not be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been their life for kind of 10 or 12 years or something. I think it was about 10 years, was it?
It's one of them sports as well. You've got to be really invested and make it your life, and or just step back.
Yeah, to suddenly step back like they did is tough. But then at the same time, the reason, or one of the reasons, the Faye thing worked really, really well was because they didn't want to see the team just disappear.
Yeah.
Like, they've spent a lot of money and a lot of time getting a team that worked together well, and you know what it's like trying to get 20 or 30 people to all get on together and work well together is really tough. And Smiths had done that, so as much as they wanted, or they were at the end of their journey, they didn't want to just see the team disappear. So it really kind of worked well that Faye was already sponsoring the team, decided that she really wanted to run her own team, and at the same time they wanted to back away. So that's how it all kind of happened, and Faye basically bought the team off them and pretty much kept 99% of the staff and everything. It was all nearly the same. She went with new bikes because it was an M1000RR. There was new premises, which moved up from Gloucester, because DAZ was always going down to Gloucester to work on the bikes. Moved it all up here to Louth. And yeah, she put obviously a massive investment, which everyone's seen already, turning it into what is the FHO racing team.
So do you know, most people, looking from a distance, would look at you sort of being one of the busiest riders in the paddock. Obviously all the road racing things, sometimes endurance racing, all the O'Varley stuff. Then there's 1 year where there's no road racing, and most people would think so you can fully concentrate on the BSB. And the first year that happened, it was the opposite of what you would expect. You'd finished 6th whilst doing all the road racing and everything, and then when there was no road racing, you could just concentrate on the BSB. The results, you had
14th.
A difficult
year.
I
was 14th.
Yeah. So how on earth did that happen?
The long and short of it was the bike was actually the same. If anything, the bike was better in 2020 than it was in 2019 because we had a full year's worth of data on it, and then we got stronger engines. So we had some superbike engines from BMW and all the rest of it. So the year was going to look like mint. We're going to have a mega year. And then Pirelli decided to change the spec of the tyre and not really say anything to anyone, but just go, oh, it's a bit different, don't worry about it, blah, 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 carry on. And I hated it. And in fact, funnily enough, I still hate it.
You've just had to learn to adapt.
No, they brought a different tyre out for 2021.
Right, I didn't know.
Whether that's just because I moaned my arse off for the entire of 2020, I don't know. I basically went from a year where I think I crashed twice or 3 times with all that riding that I did, to a year where I crashed, I think, 6 times in 2020 in only 6 rounds, and was shit.
But no, but you see,
I went from being fast and not crashing to being not fast and crashing, and not really having any explanation as to why I was crashing. Like, when you know why you've crashed, it's kind of all right. You deal with it and go, oh, I made a mistake, or this happened, or whatever. I was crashing with next to no kind of reason of why. I'd nearly be bolt upright out of a corner and suddenly high side. It was the weirdest year I've ever had, I think.
It must have totally melted your head.
Yeah, it did,
Like, I mean, you must have been going, is this just going to happen again?
Yeah, which is why I was so slow, because I couldn't ride, and every time I went fast, I fell off. As soon as I went fast, I fell off.
Because you are, like, touch wood, not jinxing. You're not a crasher.
No, well,
you're smooth, you're consistent. It's
yeah, and like in stark comparison, the bike is a new M1000RR. It's slightly different. Lots of differences in lots of little places, but not, overall, the bike's fairly similar. The tyre changed. Not massively, but a little bit. We did way more riding, and I think I crashed 3 times all year. Yeah, and I did a lot of riding again this year.
Was it the front and the rear that year, 2020?
It was, but the front was good. It's all the rear that hammered us.
I remember towards the end of that year, you had Marcus Reitenberger come over to do a round.
Yeah.
And I remember before the race that took place, I went back and looked at the last time he was at Donington was European Superstock.
Yeah.
And he did a 129.9 in Superstock, European Superstock.
Yeah, fast.
And then I was looking at the BSB lap record, which wasn't that much faster. And I was thinking, well, if he did that on a Superstock bike, he's going to be super competitive this year, like in BSB. Opposite, and whatever problems you were having must have been exactly the same for him, because I remember like that weekend he was nowhere in Superstock times on the Superbike. So whatever, and to be fair, all BMWs in 2020 really struggled.
All shy.
First year, none of them got a podium all year in Superbikes. It was, but yeah, whatever.
And for me, it was all down to that tyre. That was the one change that, particularly for the BMW, absolutely ruined it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't matter what you did. Honestly, we went upside down, inside out. I went from, at one point, I did a 30 mil ride height change in one go. The lap time was the same.
Wow.
The feeling was the same, and I could nearly not tell that the bike had changed.
Did you have any old? Could you access any old tyres at that point?
No, you weren't allowed to, because under the BSB rules, we all have to run the same. And that's that.
I'm not even.
Could we actually just go and try it?
Let's go to Cadwell for an even. No,
we didn't. We didn't.
But you could have.
Probably could have, but we didn't, because there's just no point.
I totally agree. That would have melted your head even more.
It probably would have
one
done.
Of those.
Yeah, annoy you even more.
So all I did was keep going to see Stuart and saying, "This tyre's shit. Can we change it?"
My next daft question, and obviously the tyres are different, but the profile, the construction. Like, because you kept winning on that bike on the BM,
completely different,
totally different tyre.
Yeah,
it's
everything's different from Superstock to Superbike. So,
which bikes did it suit then?
I think it suited the Suzuki quite well.
Right. Because I haven't heard any
It definitely suited the Honda quite well, but also for them it was a brand new bike at the same time, so they had no data to relevance anything against.
Yeah.
Which actually kind of screwed us for a bit. And actually, after a round or two, even though it was only a 6-round championship, we just scrapped all of our notes from the year before, because nothing worked. It didn't make any difference. Whatever problems we had the year before, if you did the same fix, if you like, didn't fix it. So in the end we had to literally just start from scratch, and I think that's probably one of the things that helped the Honda in BSB at the time was they had no data, so everything was new, and they just made changes, and yes, that improves. No, that doesn't.
Revelation when they round one, wasn't it? No one was expecting that.
And literally the Hondas were like bang bang straight away, and then this year they've not had such a good year, and neither is the Suzuki particularly.
Because the tyres, both front and back, have changed again, haven't they?
The front's the same. The rear, we have that same option as 2020 if we want, but we also have a different option, which is what nearly everybody ran this year, funnily enough.
But there we are.
In terms of BMWs this year as well, a lot like you and Danny in the showdown, Bradley Ray was almost in the
Yeah,
showdown.
he was, yeah.
Obviously, Buchan took a few race wins. You got, was it 2 or 3?
I got 2, yeah.
Cadwell, yeah.
We do a pub quiz for the patrons, and you're like, wait, what was the question? It was like, who's actually done the doubles?
Yeah, in terms of like won 2 races on the same weekend, how many different riders did that in 2021?
Ooh, not many. So there was me, DB, because DB did them both at Knockhill, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Jason, obviously. Taz, obviously. Pretty sure Bridewell did.
Yeah.
And I reckon... Oh, there is one more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Gino, right.
Gino, yeah, 6. But to say six riders did the double in 2021, it is that like sounds like ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Never happened before that, I don't think.
Yeah, no, well, even just to get a double's hard work, isn't it?
Obviously, there's 3 races a weekend, which sort of helps.
Yeah, it does help a little bit, yeah.
But still...
I'll tell you, I was thinking of a daft... Like, I'm just full of stupid daft questions. But
really? I've never noticed.
I'm massively brimming. I'm actually controlling this just as best as I can. But no, it's a case of... local lad... You ever considered what would be like if you hated Cadwell Park?
It's a good job I don't.
No, that's what I mean. Imagine that's your local circuit.
I've not always had good results though. Like, everyone always thinks, "Oh, Cadwell's your round. You always go well." Then I'm like, well, no, not always. I've had a few years that have been really tough.
Definitely. But you've had some outstanding.
I definitely have had some good ones.
You've had but I've just imagined as a rider going, "That's me local, all my friends. Everyone's there, and I'm shite round it."
We had Lee Hardy on the podcast a few months ago, and obviously we were talking about your first ever race win when you were riding for the RAF team. It was their first race win as well, Cadwell, and I guess it has probably been your best track.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, in result space. Yeah, that and Thruxton. Thruxton I've always been really, really strong at, for whatever reason. Even as being a kid, I was really strong there.
But it probably feels like home from home, considering you used to live actually in the grounds.
Literally in the grounds.
How many years did you do living there?
About 2 to 3. 2 to 3, pretty much.
Are you on first name terms with all the security guards?
Yeah, I was the security guard for a while.
Really?
Yeah, from December, like now, there's nobody at Cadwell, so I was the security guard. Because there's nothing going on, so they don't need to be in the office.
I can just see you coming at the gate like, what do you want? You got any cash on you? You can go as many times as you want. Give me the cash, mate.
Did you have all of the takeaways on speed dial?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
I tell you what, there's a couple of times I've either done track days or whatever and woke up in the morning, and what a beautiful part of the world that is. Like just in the valley, there's like wildlife and just the greenery. It's such a cool place.
Very quiet, funnily enough, when there's no one there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Apart from me.
But, is there any track that upsets you? You go to a track and you think, I'm really enjoying this, and you do really shite at. That's a question for both of you. No, you know what I mean? It's like this track is class, but
so a track
your bogey track.
The track that I really love that has now turned to shite is Silverstone.
Right.
So the big circuit at Silverstone is awesome. It's absolutely mega. Now we have to ride on that poxy triangle with 5 corners, and it's horrible.
Do you think there's any chance that we'll go back to the big... I love the big track.
It's so cool, isn't it? I get it. It's not great for spectators because you only get to see us once every 2 minutes, and you only get a 14-lap race and all, and it's expensive and all the rest of it. But what a circuit to ride! It's so good to ride. I keep jibbing Higgsy about it.
Put us back.
And he's like, yeah, no worries, you pay for it and we'll go.
If you could put any circuit on the BSB calendar anywhere in the world, what track would it be? That's another question for the pair of you.
Mugello.
I haven't ridden at that many tracks, but Portimao is one of my favourite. I've been to.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. I feel like I've gone to the quick fire question part of it.
Already,
we've got so much to talk about up to that point. Sorry.
Back to you had that disappointing year in 2020. And then the whole takeover happened going into 2021. And I remember seeing you in, I think it was some sort of video in probably like March time, 2021. And it looked like you'd lost about 3 stone. You looked like a skeleton. You must have really, really hit the training hard like last winter.
Yeah, so something again with the whole team changing from Smith to FHO and me still being a rider. A lot of people almost kind of think that I'm part of the team, as in the team's almost partly mine or something, but it couldn't be any further from the truth. There's no number 1 rider either, because that's also another thing that people always think happens is Pete always gets better parts and he always gets it. a load of bollocks. If anything, the other side of the garage always gets it because I'm
It's
getting...
already grassing Brian up here.
Yeah.
It's actually Brian that gets the better
Yeah,
bike.
Brian's got the better bike.
That smooth southern
The
accent.
team's almost done the opposite to make sure they're not doing that, you know, so that I don't necessarily always get all the brand new parts and stuff, because my results have tended to be better than my teammates for whatever reason in the last few years, from a Smith's point of view and even from an FHO point of view this year.
Always been the case with it.
And people always just think, oh yeah, that's because he's getting the better stuff, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And I was really lucky that Faye decided that she wanted to keep me as a rider in 2021 in the team, because she didn't have to. You know, she could have chosen anybody. It wasn't a given that I was going to get the ride, and one of the conditions that I got the ride was that she wanted me to lose a little bit of weight. I was getting a bit fat in 2020.
She put it to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So she said, "Like, look,
Can you paint a scene? No, was it a Wednesday morning? Was it in the
It
office? So
was-
let's paint a scene. Yeah,
It was pretty much. It was the end of Brands 2020, so it was when all the deal had kind of been done, and we were not. I think we did actually announce at Brands, but we definitely did the photos at Brands, so it was all done. And she was like, "Look, for next year, I want you to lose a bit of weight and like really put your effort into it, and I want to see a bit of commitment from your side. I'm chucking in a load of cash, so I want some effort from you." So I was like,
Yeah.
fair play, all right, no worries. So we kind of set a target for myself, and yeah, the rest is history. Yeah,
Mainly diet or mainly training?
bit of both. Bit of both. Stop eating.
Liposuction or-
Yeah. I like my food. That's my biggest downfall. 'Cause I'm not much of a drinker, so I can, like, if I didn't have another alcoholic drink now for the rest of my life, it actually wouldn't bother me whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't drink at all.
Yeah, so I used to be teetotal till I went road racing. Then you're not allowed to be a road racer unless you drink. So basically,
went to the deep
I'm
end.
not even lying. 2014 is the first time I started drinking. So I was 27. Yeah,
Wow. What's your
You have time. You
what's
have
your
time,
tipple of
Chrissy.
choice?
rum and coke. Rums, whiskies, any kind of shorts I'm good with.
I've been in a nightclub a couple of times in Macau with this lad. You know, he is making up for lost time.
I'm definitely making up for last time.
Here's the question then. Talk us through the first time you ever got drunk.
So it was New Year's Eve in 2013 for 2014, yeah. And do you know what my first drink that I had was? So we were playing beer pong, which was probably not the best entry into drinking.
Did they tell you what it was? Oh, don't worry, it's mouthwash, mate. Just
No, I even knew what it was, and it was the worst thing on the board. It was a triple Sambuca.
Oh, wow.
And everybody that was there all drank, and they were all dreading getting the triple Sambuca. And that was my first drink.
Wow.
I tell you what,
down in one. That was good.
Everything after that is just like Sambuca. People drink that for a giggle. You know what? It's like drinking. It's like tar. Well, you wouldn't even know, but I feel like I'm talking to a wall here.
I actually really like Sambuca. Maybe that's why.
It's welded with
And
your
then
DNA. The first hit of drink, and it's
Then did you get hammered that night?
Yeah, I was.
Mate, it would have been halfway
pissed,
down the glass. It would have been hammered.
I had Jägermeister. I had everything that night.
You mustn't have had much of a tolerance, like if you'd never had it before. If you'd never
And do you know what? You'd think that I would get drunk quite easily and really fast and all the rest of it. I can drink quite well for some reason.
Every person says that when they start, Chris. I am mint at this. You're dribbling. You're essentially having a mild stroke on. I don't know what everyone's whinging at. This is easy. You know? Oh my god.
Yeah, generally speaking, I'm alright, and I don't get hangovers particularly. I'm going to touch some wood there, but I generally don't get hangovers.
So it's the food, the food.
Yeah, it's the
treats
food.
that
The food's what I really, really like.
So
cake. Give me the cake.
you just go on a strict diet then.
Yeah, fairly strict. Yeah, fairly strict diet.
Did-
With exercise added into it as well. Quite a lot of cycling. I'm really not a morning person. I hate mornings. I was getting up at 6:30 in the morning to do a bit of training at DAZ, so my crew chief, who's also my best mate as well, and is kind of team manager, if you like, for not team manager, but running FHO racing. Yeah. So I was at his every morning at 6:30. We would do an hour to an hour and a half's worth of training, and then the diet started up after that as well. And then we would go out cycling. I would cycle like lunchtime, and then probably do a cycle in the evening and stuff as well.
So did you have like a bonus if you hit a certain weight? Or
Yeah. So I had the target to reach, and I got a bonus if I got to the target. So, which, funnily enough, Faye still owes me. Actually, I'm glad you just brought that up. I don't know if she's listening, but I am definitely bringing that up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, a deal's a deal.
A deal's a deal. Yeah.
So do you prefer that element in a boss kind of thing? You know, like that. Like, yeah. What's Feiho like as a bossing? She has got like a hard-working woman who's got a lot on her plate with a big team. She's running brand new riders all the time, which is
spending a fortune,
spending an absolute fortune. So
and what do we all go racing for? To win.
Yeah. No, so what is she like? You know.
Do you know what? She's actually really good. She's pretty chilled out most of the time. Yeah. She's got quite a short fuse actually, so if you do piss her off, you will know about it fairly quickly.
Wait, she's in business at a high level.
Not only that, she's Asian. I don't know if many people out there know someone who's Asian, but generally speaking, they have a very short fuse. So you know all about it very, very quickly. But that's cool. Do you know what? I like to know where I stand. I'd rather, if someone's annoyed with me, I'd rather someone go, "Oh yeah, I'm pissed off with you," and this is the reason. Like, I'm cool with that. I'm like, all right, yeah, a dick. Sorry.
I couldn't agree more. I'm at the moment. I'm going through a little thing like that, and I don't know where I stand with him, and you think, what the hell's going on?
Oh,
he's the crew chief.
Pull
up a seat. Hold on. Pull up a seat. Pull up a seat, young'un. Pull up a seat. Put this microphone in front of him.
Give them an hour.
I tell you what. You put them on, mate. I'm going to ask you
how we
one
doing, boss?
question.
Talking of food, and he's brought. What have you brought?
No, I'll show you in a minute.
He's put them. I tell you what, he runs a team, but he can't put headphones on. This is terrible. So, we're going into the nitty gritty of this conversation. Perfect time from yourself.
Yeah, it was.
What's he like to work with? Be honest. No,
this is actually really good.
We're not recording yet at all, so be honest.
We are recording.
I have to wipe his arse a lot.
He's been out there, mate. He's been out there in the freezing cold going, this is my moment. This is my moment.
You want to turn your headphones around?
No, this is the Craig David look. There you are.
Oh,
there we go.
Well, you've been here 2 seconds.
It was really professional until you turned up.
Pour your water. Pour your mince pies.
I knew there was going to be mince pies.
I love that. We've actually got into the diet situation, the drinking situation, and we're just going straight into it. There you go.
What's he told you about the diet situation?
So we're just talking about when...
We're talking about the start of the year when we were really good.
When
I'll put 6:30 in the morning.
It was at your house 6:30 every morning training, and managed to lose weight.
I was there at 6:30. Probably nearer 7.
I was about to say, did you see Peter nodding at him going, 6:30? Remember, son, kick.
It was definitely closer to 7:30. Yeah, 7:30 I reckon it was. Between 7 and 7:30 it was.
Were you like personal trainer, keeping him on his toes?
Actually, I spent a lot of money on a personal trainer.
Did you?
And he jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I missed that bit out.
But it was good actually.
It was like an online personal trainer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good, and you had to take pictures of your food and all that kind of malarkey, so it was alright.
Wasn't Christian in, was it?
No.
Christian Inn's fat cam kicking off at Stormy.
I think he would have beasted us, to be fair. I'm not into that. But he was good. Lost 2 stone, and then season started, put it back on. It was a minute.
For those that obviously just joined the conversation, we have actually been speaking about you a little bit, but this is Darren Jones, isn't it? Darren Jones, and team manager for FHO.
Yeah.
And how's things since like the season finished? What have you been keeping yourself busy with?
Everything actually, yeah. With TT going ahead, all being well, and the roads. We've obviously got Pete and Brian. So from a BMW perspective, we've got 4 bikes. So as well as BSB, we've got I think 8 bikes we've got in total, which is a lot. So it is for a one-man band, but. No, we've got somebody else now starting actually, Andy, who worked for Honda, Andy Perkins, you know him. He's just started, so that's good. And then Bucks comes up as well. He's been up a couple of times, Andy, and he'll come up in the new year and give me a bit of an hand. And so no, it's good. It's been really busy actually. Been good. Got a few sponsors on board, and mega, really good.
Do you cry yourself to sleep at night with all this stress?
I've got a really small violin actually.
Right, fantastic.
I play that a lot.
World's smallest violin.
It is.
I used to have one of them. I upgraded, mate. I got the massive one.
I'm still on the small one at the minute. But if anybody wants to get me up for Christmas, then maybe a bigger violin.
Well, we kind of just got on to the 2021 year, but just before we get started with that, when did you two meet?
2009, I think.
Yeah.
Is it a case of just working in the same team sort of thing?
No. I went to ask him for some money.
you know that beer pong table, Chris? Yeah. You know that beer pong table? He was on the other side.
Yeah. So different teams at this time.
Yeah. No, I didn't work in racing as such. I was in bikes, but I didn't work in racing because I didn't want to do it because it takes over your life.
Sorry.
And the rest is history. Really,
so you got Darren into racing?
Yeah, so Daz owned his own bike shop. So I went in with no money, going, "Please, can I have some money, sir?
Yeah.
Do you fancy sponsoring me a bit?" So I was running my own superbike team at the time, and you said yes, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I got you a swing arm and some garage boarding or something.
That's it. Swing arm and boarding.
Yeah, it was good. And then I think somebody let you down in 2010, was it?
Yeah. So you ended up coming a mechanic in for the year, and then it kind of went from there.
Yeah, trapped.
Basically trapped him. That's
Yeah, and then, yeah.
Well, I bet
I didn't get him pregnant. I just trapped him with bikes
Yeah,
instead.
same kind of thing.
to be fair, I bet when you stood at the bottom of Glencutchery Road with the big number 1 in your hands, I bet it's all been worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 2018 was by far my best. No, 2015 was my best year actually, because we didn't work together, do we?
I couldn't say. Cheeky bastard.
No, 2018.
Gary Johnson.
Yeah, Gaz is alright.
That cuts deep.
Do you run Gaz?
I like Gaz.
Yeah, drinks a lot. It's perfect.
Well, so getting on to 2021 season, was it similar, although the teams changed, was it pretty similar in terms of the bike?
Ish. The bike, so lots of little changes.
Yeah,
is
the engine
how
was
I
different. I
describe
think
it,
the engine
yeah.
was a big step forward from
Right.
BMW, so the engine was a big step forward. Yeah, chassis was different, fairing was different. There's quite a lot different, but just slightly better, if you like. The radiator was slightly better, and swing arms were the same. I think we had some different ones, didn't like them, but yeah, it wasn't massively different.
But in terms of the championship, you think the change in tyres was probably the most significant change?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
100%.
Here's a question: as a team like for the common man like myself, if I decided to ring a factory period, BM or Yamaha, I would never ever get anywhere near that. I can just imagine it. But how long does it take for your process? So you find a problem, say swing and arm, and you say let's add 10 mil on the back. I need a new swing and arm made. In theory, well, in a guess, how long does that take? Not even a guess.
If it's a change like that, you can have it done within a week. If it's a change like that, yeah. I mean, starting from scratch is a different matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you just adding to or changing, it's not too bad. We've got some mega engineers that work with us. So.
And do you know, in terms of, so at BSB, Cinetic, which used to be Tyco, is kind of the factory BMW supported team.
Yeah.
And so you're like a privateer BMW team.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual running of the team, what does that mean to, like, in layman's terms? What's the difference between yourselves and Cinetic?
He does everything.
Yeah, we don't have to report back to BMW for starters, so they'll have a lot of paperwork and stuff, and we've done this, we've done that. We do, but we don't have to. They pretty much have to run what they're told to run within reason. Where if we want to go and get our own swing arm made, we can do. They can't do that.
Right.
So we're kind of, we're left to our own devices to a point, which is a good thing, really. But it can also have a negative effect, because if the factory finds something really good, obviously we might not be able to get it and stuff like that. So swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
You've got more flexibility. I was just about to say that negative.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, what's...
I haven't, because I'm getting old, but yeah. From a team point of view, we have, yeah.
And we just briefly started to speak about teammates, and we're kind of saying, like, no matter who's been your teammate really over the last good few years, you've always got the better of them. Going into this year, there was quite a bit of hype about Javi coming back from World Superbikes, you know, a top class rider. It didn't really work out from from within the team. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, we really don't know, to be fair, because in testing he was a lot faster than Pete, and was like, this is going to be it, and he got caught out, to be fair, at Alton Park, which didn't help.
Testing, was that Spanish testing or UK testing?
And UK,
Yeah, both.
and UK, to be fair, yeah.
Was it a case of you thought this might be the first time that my teammate's going to be faster, so get a bit of sugar in the tank?
Yeah, no, even though I work with Pete, I actually and I said this to Ryan actually even today, I want Ryan to beat Pete. I genuinely do want Ryan, because he needs a kick up the arse sometimes, and you want to beat your teammate, don't you? So he's never had a teammate that's faster than him, really, or not been. He maybe is, but he's not been faster. So I think that's definitely what you need. So for me, if Ryan comes in and beats him, that's the best thing for the team and for him.
You need someone to push you, don't you? That's the thing, and that's something I've asked for over the last few years. I want a fast teammate. I want a fast team. Like from my point of view, I want a fast teammate. I want someone to go faster than me, and then me go, I need to pull my finger out my arse and figure out why, and also have the data there to be able to see why. You know, because when you are a team, everything's completely open. We don't have any barriers of anything. My bike comes in, gets plugged in, it goes to a central box. Both sides of the garage can see it. Likewise with the other side of the garage. So whenever there has been a moment where someone's maybe been faster or they've been doing something better and our electronics guy's seen it, he's been able to go, look, this is what they're doing and this is why and this is the outcome or the result of it.
So it helps build.
It's a team.
What was Javi like? Just like sort of off track, and like, was he good?
Oh, it's mega,
Yeah,
real good. Yeah.
Have you got any good funny stories about him?
Come on.
Don't be shy. I think his missus got bent in half. I was just about to say, Cadbury.
Really?
So that's about his missus, not him. But yeah, she got pretty bent in half, which is quite funny.
I think he pretty much ended up taking her home before anything daft really happened.
Right. Is she Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
Everyone's taking it on. Come on!
Yeah, basically, that's kind of what was happening. We were like, go on, do a bit more.
Do you want another drink? Do you want another drink there? Just get that down in.
She was knocking it back, to be fair.
Yeah, and that was the night before the race on Sunday as well.
Good on
yeah,
her. Good girl.
Is Xavi going back to like racing Europe or something?
I think he's doing Moto E.
Moto E, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing Moto E.
I think Bradley Smith's doing that as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so. He's just been confirmed. Do you know, that's one race I've never ever seen. I don't know where it gets televised or anything. I'm not really that interested.
All together now. Crap.
Who cares?
Have you ever been on an electric by a TT?
No. I was meant to ride with Daly actually in
on the Nottingham.
Yeah, on the Nottingham bike.
Right.
Because they had two at one point. Most people probably didn't know it, but they did have two, and I was meant to be riding the other bike. It was 16. And when we got to the TT, it still wasn't even built properly, and the brake lines weren't even on. And then I think it was you went and had a look. Yeah, well, you went and had a look at it, and then you came back to me and was like, "You're not riding it. Even if you want to ride it, you're not riding it." So that. Yeah, so that would kind of put paid to that really.
I'll tell you what. Going back to the other conversation, if you could pick a teammate in the BSB paddock, who would you want as a teammate?
Yeah, good
and
question.
Then, and then you're going to answer that question. This is really interesting. So, no, you're not.
And let's just rule out Ryan because obviously you would.
Yeah, because Ryan's already there.
Yeah.
Okay. If I had a choice, who would I have chosen? I think Brooks would have been a really interesting one to have as a teammate to see.
That was my choice, by the way.
Was that your choice?
Was that ever on the cards by the way? Because that was rumoured like quite strongly.
On the Fayho? Yeah.
I don't think it actually
Not
was
really.
it?
Not
It was
really.
a conversation.
It was a loose conversation.
What's the best rumour you've heard?
Yeah, who was going to be there?
Sykes was coming to us.
Yeah, Sykes was. Yeah.
Sykes
Never even had a conversation, was there?
Well, we signed him, but we haven't had a conversation. So Sykes was a good one, wasn't it?
Obviously, he tunes into this show. It's the world's best podcast. He'll be like that. I'll get on the phone. Hello, Faye. You all right there?
Faye's taken over the Ulster. That was a good rumour. She's the one who's
I
resurrected the Ulster.
Dom started that rumour.
I really hope I started that because I was the one running around the place going, right, at the end of the day, Faye's got the world's fastest road race, I think, and she's got the brass.
We've been setting our own rumours a little bit. We've been telling people that we're them cut these colours because we're going to MotoGP with Petronas, so we kind of spread that rumour ourselves, just for a bit of fun. But we're not.
What's the best rumour that you've been gutted and never came true? That could be in motorsport in general.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Really.
Dom started a rumour about you on the podcast a while ago.
Which one?
Which one?
If you remember, after the NEC show. No, after the London XL.
Something about him getting someone pregnant, was it? Something like that. That'd be a mega rumour, that.
No,
could be true.
They're facts. That's they're
Facts and rumours are different things.
Totally different things, mate. You know what I mean? A rumour's bullshit.
It was let's just say it was a very complimentary rumour that he
no, that he's got a bat. Basically, I wrote the NEC was that compressed, and basically I looked at it, caught in my eye. I'm thinking this thing's talking to me, and it was attached to Pete, and I'm going I'm on this flat track bike going, don't let it hit you. Like, mate, I was tucked in going, hang on, is that enough room? Jesus, man, no wonder he smiles all the time. He's like, can I have the ride?
That'll try and take it around the TT for that.
That's it, you know.
Speaking
there's a 138 in this lap if this was
Speaking of the MCN show, where actually you've got a team there on the thingy, haven't you, this year?
Yeah.
That'd be good crack. You and
me
Hickman.
and McGuinness.
Sorry, the
team
captains, yeah. And I with Boasties, I was actually at Boasties the other day. It's a great crack, that, isn't it?
It's really, really good fun, although it nearly ended up really badly last year. Boasty actually went over the barrier, didn't he?
He did,
He ended up on top of the barrier, still on the bike somehow, but when he come off the berm. But I don't think we've got a berm this next year. I think the berm's gone.
It's just an oval, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
They did look at doing a figure of 8 with going under and over.
Oh my god, that would definitely be good.
Yeah, not a good idea.
On the team thing, are you in charge of the road?
Yeah.
Is that
no, because me and McGuinness are team captains,
No,
but I
Are
don't.
you both roads lads?
Yeah, but
It's not roads versus.
It's not roads versus BSB. It's just.
Right,
we're just team captains. Yeah.
There's a question, right? You're in the pub having the crack. What would you call yourself? A BSB rider or a roads rider?
No, I'm a motorcycle racer.
Oh,
it's not a binary
diplomatic
choice.
twat, you know what I mean?
Crap,
It's,
that.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? Leaning. I'm a road racer. Yeah. Death stares me in the eye and I wink back. You know, I'm like,
Depends if you've got a pint in your hand or not, doesn't it?
of course it does.
You got a pint in your hand. You're a road racer. Yeah.
I'm actually stealing one of the. We've got some Patreon questions for you coming up, but one of the Patreon's questions was if it was a binary choice and you just had to choose to race the rest of your career just doing road racing or just doing short circuit racing, which one would you do and why?
Money's not an option.
mega-
Oh yeah, and
Money's
it was
not an
money.
option.
Money's
Like,
not an
There
option.
was no money in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to go roads.
Would you?
The only problem with the roads is there's not enough of them. As in the big internationals, there isn't really. Northwest, TT, Ulster, Macau.
So like four.
That's
like
it.
four.
So there's
Yeah.
four.
Yeah.
So I'd only get a chance to ride 4 times a year.
So if you were getting paid the same amount, you would just do the road racing and drop the shorts.
Yeah, I think I'd have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still love short circuit racing. I always have done. I think I always will do. I think it helps that I can win.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the riders go to the TT, really enjoy themselves, come back, and then struggle at short circuits. In the end, they just can it in, which I think is why you don't see a lot of the road races doing short circuit. Dean's probably been the only one recently that's really been pushing hard, but he's only doing it to make himself faster at TT. He's not bothered about BSB. He's doing it just to make himself faster.
Have you been keeping an eye on that, seeing how his progression's going? Has that been in the corner of the eye?
Not massively, I wouldn't say. I mean,
He's going good though.
yeah, he's been
going.
strong.
I personally
yeah,
think
yeah.
he's
he's
going
done
brilliant
good.
myself. Like.
Yeah.
If you could only do like say one, what's your favourite event?
TT.
TT. Yeah.
Do you want to think about it?
Yeah. Take your time. Take a breath.
I just love it. I love the whole thing, not just the racing. I love the atmosphere, the whole event. You know, the fact that you get up late, you spend all day prepping the bikes, but it's all chilled. I like that. It's cool.
When was your first time at the TT?
14.
With me.
40, right.
Yeah, 14. Borrowed a bike off Shuey, didn't we? And
Yeah. Sat in the corner of his awning.
sat in the corner of his own, and yeah, it was mint. No pressure, just me and you having a bit of a giggle. It was mint.
Do you know in terms of nerves wise, do you get
Yeah.
a lot more nervous at the TT?
Massively.
Yeah.
I am a horrible.
Really?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, and I know I am.
You can say it. You're a horrible bastard.
Yeah.
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 For
No, I
about
am.
2 weeks.
A couple of weeks. Mrs. doesn't like me and stuff, but yeah, I am. But as soon as it's over, mint. I'm happy again. But yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? I don't know. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be so good.
Yeah. You can only get the ridiculous highs
Yeah,
by
of course
taking
you can,
like
yeah.
massive risks.
Yeah,
in it,
yeah. Yeah, no, it is mega though. The whole thing's just cool. The
Did you-
island's mega.
Have you ever like done club race? Have you ever raced
I
yourself? or
don't.
anything?
No, I used to do track days. I did a lot of track days. I did a bit of instructing and stuff like that. I think I've done a bit out in Spain with you as well, and I rode in Spain and stuff. But yeah, I've never raced. I was going to race. I got my ECU, and I was like, no, because I got into.
Whoa. Don't be blaming me about that. I think
No,
we should do
this
an
is
endurance race at some point. So quite a few of our team have ridden or can still ride. So like like a no limits endurance race or
be
something.
cool.
That'd be really cool to do, like a 600, not 1,000, just something easy enough to ride, and just go and do like a 3 hour. And like, I think the team riders should be the mechanics.
Yeah,
so
I
there
do,
should be
yeah.
me, Ryan, Brian.
I ain't riding a bike you put together. No chance.
You can put the bikes together. Wheel mechanic on the race.
Yeah, instead of a pit board, it's the calipers. You've got to put these on your.
I've done a few of them no limits things. The class, like
Yeah.
really good fun. There's totally different sort of camaraderie, and there's just it is
Yeah,
just
it's
mega.
cool.
Yeah, like really cool.
Yeah, we had to do it for a laugh, really, but
I
just
think
time.
it'd just be cool. It would just be quite a fun thing to do. And role reversal, having the riders doing all the work till now.
If you could pick any rider out the BSB paddock who doesn't do roads, but you want him to be on a road and see him on a road, who would it be?
Ooh. Yeah, that is a tough
That's a good
one.
question for you as well.
Yeah, it's a good.
You need to
question.
choose someone who's not a crasher. That is.
Yeah, that's
but-
right.
No. I'll tell you what. Even okay,
yeah.
take that element out of it.
Take
Like,
that element out
like
of
I
it.
would love to see how he's going to go because so you see Glenn stepping up. You see Glenn. I've said this hundreds and hundreds of times. Glenn is a road racer. You know, he's won Macau's, he's won Northwests. You know, it's like him going to the TD.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Isn't exactly. His attitude.
yeah.
It's not like he's
actually-
a short circuit rider coming
Yeah,
along.
yeah.
You know, he is a roads racer. So I think. Right, I tell you what. While you're thinking about your answer,
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'll get this answer out of the way because the next question's even bigger. Get it off your chest, gentlemen. Pick a rider.
He's probably
pick a
doing
rider.
his homework, Glenn, mine, and he
Yeah, no, he's
taking
good.
it really seriously.
Yeah, which is what you need to do. It's
God,
a serious thing. It's a
It'll
serious
be fast. It'll be really fast.
Oh,
yeah.
it will be. Screw it, I'm going to ask the next question. Do you reckon he's going to crack your 130 on the first
Yep.
year?
Yeah, he should miss it. It depends on the weather, doesn't it? It depends on practice week and all that. But as long as he gets a good practice week and stuff, he'll
be
piss.
fair,
You did the
piss
129 on a friend's bike and it wasn't like the factory back and
Not only
everything
that,
like that.
it was a stocker with 194 horse at the rear wheel. Like a stocker now is 220.
Yeah.
You know, like
And obviously
we're
Glenn's
8
been riding
years
that
on.
bike for nearly 2.5
yeah.
years by the time he goes there, and it's he'll be fine.
I did a North Gloucester meeting, went to the Northwest and went to the TT. That's all I did that year. I didn't ride at all, you know.
Yeah.
I did one track day at Cadwell, a North Gloucester meeting at Alton Park in the pissing down rain, and went to the Northwest. That was it. That was my prep for the TT.
I tell you what, you know, like the whole road racing thing does get its fair share of like criticism and whatever. But looking on the flip side, what an amazing sort of opportunity and all the amazing things that road racing sort of provide. That I wouldn't say provided for you, because it's not not handed it, but the doors that road racing's opened up for you.
Oh, massive, yeah.
It's completely like really like it's given you so much in life, hasn't
massive.
it? You've managed to get so going back to like say 2014.
Yeah.
I remember you saying this on the last podcast. Like sort of at the time, you kind of didn't have really a solid BSB ride. You were like sort of ducking and diving, trying to get thing, and then to like sort of look at sort of setting up your empire now. It is and like I say, it's not like someone's given you it. You've went out and done all the hard work and things, but it is brilliant to see.
Transformed your career, really.
Yeah.
And life, not just career, but life. Like I started 14 with nothing, a load of debt, no BSB ride, and then I ended the year having won a BSB race, being the fastest newcomer at the Northwest, the TT, and the Ulster. Earned some prize money for the first time in my life. And then having a BSB ride already secured for the next year. Like the start of the year to the end of the year couldn't have been any further different from each other.
You see, this is going to be a difficult thing, and I don't think you're going to be able to give me an answer. But a lot of riders would see that as the light at the end of the darkness. You know what I mean? Is that an advisable thing to try and replicate for a lot of riders, or not? Like a lot of riders would be looking at that going, "Well, he did it.
Yeah.
Can I do it?" And it's like the thing is the risks that you take.
But I didn't do it for money. I did it because I wanted to keep racing bikes.
Yes.
That's it. So I wasn't bothered about getting paid to race necessarily. I just wanted to race bikes.
Yeah.
And first question I asked when I remember him coming around to the house and wanted to speak to me before he went to speak to his mum and dad, and said he wanted to do the TT, and I was like, bloody hell. And I just said to him, why do you want to do the TT? And he just said, because I feel like I'm at the right point in my career, blah blah blah. If he'd have said, because I need to earn some money, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
And is that can you see that potential pattern emerging in some younger riders? It's a bit like they're looking at it going, well, yeah, if I do that, and it's a bit like...
do you know what? It's not
it's a difficult thing.
It's not a touchy subject, but I do think that there should be a limit on experience and age before being able to go and do, especially the TT, but even road racing in general.
Yes.
As an 18-year-old, I'm not entirely sure you should be able to go to the TT and race a 200 horsepower superbike around there.
I personally think, I know I've done it myself, but and we've talked about it before, I personally think it should be around sort of 25 myself.
I was 27. So I was 27 and I'd been racing 1,000cc bikes on short circuits for 10 years when I went.
Yeah.
That's a long time. There's a lot of experience gained. There's a lot of mistakes made and a lot of crashing that had happened that I then learnt from in a safe environment. To then go to the TT, it was different, whereas I think 18... Yes, you could still have been riding bikes for 10 years and racing for 10 years, but not a bike that's got that capability.
Yeah.
And I think there definitely needs to be some sort of something put in place somehow, somewhere. I don't know. I think McGuinness has said it before, actually, in the past. I'm sure John said a similar sort of thing. You need way more experience of riding big bikes and making mistakes on short circuits before you go to roads.
You see, that it's such a difficult thing because we're talking about the Manx Grand Prix is in seriously difficult times, and the Manx Grand Prix is known as the amateur level. That is the best way of doing it. Yeah, it's people that couldn't get into the TT or trying to get in the TT. There is that learning curve at the Manx to be able to progress onwards from there. But with that looking less likely and the classic TT growing, they're talking about going from a 2-week event into 8 days or 7. It's looking
I would
less.
say
It's getting we're getting at the thin end of the wedge, and it's that makes the TT a bigger pool, and with reduced numbers because of fast lads like you, sort of only 50 lads are allowed in. Well, the regs haven't been released yet, but only 50 lads have been allowed in. That pool is getting thinner and thinner. So you can imagine people stepping up. You have to be like Glenn
at a level, yeah.
Well,
you do, don't you?
Yeah,
I would say for the Manx though, the fact that they've got reduced numbers in the TT, there's going to be a good chunk of lads that would usually do the TT that are now going to be doing the Manx. So it's like filling up more numbers for the Manx Grand Prix.
But you see,
possibly,
no,
yeah.
but you see, the mad thing is, like, once you, like, you know, the TT lads, it has to be a 2 or 3 year gap
before you can go and do a max.
before you go back.
Well, they must have to change those rules, because otherwise there's going to be people that really want to go to the TT who've got the experience that aren't allowed to do either, which wouldn't be fair. So they must they'll be changing the rules for that.
That is a very difficult situation for the Isle of Man organisers, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the fact that it's getting, because my first time racing 1,000 was Cookstown, and then to the Isle of Man on a Fireblade that I bought of Lee Johnson. And then it shit itself, even though he told me it was brand new. Lying twat. It shit itself at the Ulster. I didn't even get a lap on it at the Ulster. Anyway, the violin. So I can't remember the violin. No, but like you say, I totally agree. I went off down Burrow Hill knowing I have to be in the big bike race, and I do love riding that sort of, but that is almost getting totally phased out. And for the better, but it's
I think it is for the better.
It is,
whether people like it or not. I think it is for the better.
It is a safer, better option. But you can imagine 3 years from now, if you're trying to get to the TT, that's going to be a lot more of a prep. Like me, I was very lucky that I got into the TT period, and I was be able to build up and build up and build up. But now joining in, Glenn's a little bit of a, he's a professional road racer. But imagine someone stock 1,000 just getting into it thinking, we're going to the TD. That's a pressure part, isn't it?
It is, but then somebody who's fast at stock 1,000 has already got a lot of experience. To be fast at stock 1,000, you're already quite experienced, and you've done your club racing, you've almost done your apprenticeship. So I think it's that calibre of rider that they're trying to encourage more so than somebody who's only just really started racing.
Like Milo Ward, he's gone across.
Yeah, he is,
Just well, talking about the TT, really sort of exciting project with the Norton going on. Is it the Super Light?
It is a Super Light, yeah.
So it's to race in the twin class. Will it be the only one in the world?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean there was 3, but I don't know where the other 2 are.
In a museum somewhere, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they're hidden somewhere in the world.
Garden shed. Talks about, like, obviously, such a cool project. You've got kind of like an open book to go at. Talk us through, like, where you're at with it, what your ideas are, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I raced it in 2019 at the TT. In fact, it was the only Norton to finish all week or 2 weeks.
Because David Todd was on one, McGuinness was on one,
and me.
And
they both conked out on lap 1, and I managed the 2 whole laps. It finished 8th, or I finished 8th on it. 120.2 mile an hour average lap on a twin, my fastest ever twin lap.
And it was slow and heavy, wasn't it?
It was slow and heavy. I was 10 horse down on everyone and 25 kilos over with the bike, and then put me on it. So she was a pretty heavy beast. I did 2 laps on it in practice, and then I did the 2-lap race. That's all I did. So I only did 4 laps on it, and it did all right. Really, it was pretty good. It actually handled quite well. It vibrated its head off. Which was
put together very nice.
It was put together very nice.
Was it close to the electric thing where you're like, ooh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, if I'd have had a proper look at it, like I did afterwards, then I probably want to let him go out on it. To be fair. Yeah, it wasn't nice, to be fair.
No, it was pretty much a road bike with the lights taken off it, and
just some really silly things, weren't there?
So what's sorry? What?
I was just going to say, obviously since then, there's new owners. Is it TVS took over Norton and completely, like, revamped the whole thing? Do you have, like, good relationship with them, and are you working on the project as a combination, or have you just got it as a side project?
We're pretty much as a side project by ourselves. We still know quite a few of the people. Obviously, a lot of the guys that were there originally at Norton are now still at Norton.
Yeah.
Their bosses are not that keen or not that interested at the moment in racing, particularly. I think they've got bigger fish to fry is probably the more, and I think for them, if they were deciding to go, we'll put a bit of effort into here, like with us, I think it would look bad for them anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think the whole thing has kind of been like, racing's not really, we're not into that at the moment. That's not where we're at as a brand or as a company, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I've managed to kind of salvage what I could already before it was all kind of happening with bikes, engines, bits and pieces. So actually we're fairly good as far as stock of parts. Only really one chassis, so I don't need to be bending it. Engines wise, we're all right, and when we've pretty much revamped everything, haven't we? Even from a chassis point of view, it's changed. From an engine point of view, it's going to change. We're going to do already we're doing the engines in house here. So Dave's porting them, done his own cams for them. We've done our own airbox for it. We've changed the whole seat and tank unit, and
So do you think
trying to get some weight off it, really.
Do you think it should be competitive against the Kawasaki's, the Pattons, the Aprilias?
It's going to be interesting because nobody really knows, because obviously the Aprilia's new, obviously the MT-07 is it that's allowed in, is going to be new.
I think.
Oh, is the R7 even in? Yeah. So there's going to be, the class is going to change anyway. As it was, I think it would have been competitive. How competitive it's going to be against an Aprilia and a Yamaha, I don't really know, but I think it will be all right.
Because it is definitely the most scrutinised class going.
Yeah,
you know, how much not trouble's the total wrong word, but how much flack are you getting? Any at all, in your opinions?
No, not really. I'm sure it will come sooner or later, because technically, obviously, the bike was meant to be a road bike, and it never actually got produced as a road bike.
Yeah.
And the class is meant to be, you take a road bike and then go racing with it.
That's it.
I've not had any conversations with anyone about why or how it even got into 19, because obviously in 19 it was allowed into the class. I think because at the time it was still going to be a road bike. At that point right now it probably will never be a road bike, but this bike is still the same thing that it was when I rode it then.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not changing anything inherently that we're not allowed to change, just the same as you're not as a Kawasaki or an Aprilia or whatever it may be. So it's still a 650 twin. We're not going to alter the chassis from where it is right now, which is how it was designed as a road bike, because that's what it was. Same for the swing arm. It was the road bike swing arm. I'm going to leave that alone as the class rules state. Everything else is basically free. So we've got different triple clamps, different yokes already. Same thing.
Mate. Do you know what I mean?
This is why I'm a rider.
I bet it's
different triple clamps, different forks, wheels. We've changed the rear hub. We've changed all sorts.
But it's a real cool project to sort of have on this.
It's a cool little GP bike, really. That's what it is.
I was about to say, what made you stay with the Norton? Was it the fact because it was just the Norton brand that you think, well, a British bike? Now I'm going to speak as another Super Twin rider, and I think, of course, we want to see another brand out there. Of course, we want, proud British person, Norton brand, fly the flag, oil pissing out everywhere. That's what we want to see. You know what I mean? It's, for God's sake, it's Norton, and I think it's important for the future of the class. I'm massively getting over but it's a very difficult circle.
Yeah.
Put him on a paper bag with a couple of steering wheels hanging out. He'll win on it. That's the truth. You know, you are the world's fastest road racer, but it's very much a class that's governed by rules, and I think it's dangerous. It's dangerous territory. The fact that it's in, it's great that it's in, but it is.
Yeah, I think it's easier now that the 650 twin class is now allowing up to a 700cc.
Yeah,
so already it's a bit open.
Like I say, it's not like stock like Super Sport or stock 1000 or even Superbike. You know, these are handcrafted beasts. You know what I mean? And it's because the other bikes have got the mass manufacturer to go off, so the Aprilia can follow a barrel size, and they can follow the Kawasaki can follow crankcase rules and throttle body rules and stuff like that. And it's exciting times for you lot and Norton.
I think, to be fair, your dad did a lot with Norton, didn't he? So I think that's why he wants to continue with it more than anything, really. And it is cool.
In terms of if you do get a result on it, like say if you do win the twins.
He's looking at you going, if
you do win the
if the thing's not vibrated itself to pieces by the end of lap 4.
If you do win the twin TT as well, like compared to the other wins that you've had, to actually take a bike that was a bit of a nail and to turn it sort of design and do your own thing with it, and then if you do get a result, I bet that'll be
it'd be quite a cool achievement, wouldn't it? Because there'll be a lot of things that are different on it as well, and obviously DAZ is a massive input into that. Dave also with the engines and stuff. It's going to be a big.
I don't think I had this conversation with Bucks the other day about the twin class. Who won in 19? Because I ain't got a clue.
Dunlop
just beat.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Just beat Jamie Cowan,
and he was the same, because obviously he was with Martin. When Martin was doing it, nobody looked at it. I was like, don't say that. I put a lot of time into it. But and he said, well, who won in 17? I was like, I haven't got a clue.
Do you know racing when you're in a class?
Hold on, I'm going to stipulate. I'd be slapping you right across the table. No, it's okay. Well, he keeps bloody winning the seat. It's him and Dean just keep pissing off. There's only 3 people, but the twin does open up the rules. You got McGee fighting at the front. You got Michael Rutter. God, that was the funniest paper article I've ever read in my life. Last time I won round here was when it was in black and white. That was you know what I mean. But that was. But then the Pattons are in the same boat, in a similar boat to the Norton. You know, it's
they are.
Today they made a race bike and then just
put lights on it.
Put lights on it, you know, and that's the thing. But it's
to be fair, your point is just like a general point about motorbike racing. You know, like someone will be doing some like obscure class in a club, but no, everyone, it's like their life.
Yeah, it is,
but
yeah.
when
Yeah,
you're
it is.
out of
Yeah.
that bubble, it's irrelevant,
You ain't got a
and
clue,
it's
yeah.
like a little bit like I see it quite often with. And no disrespect to anyone that does it. Do you know the Moto 2 class in like the GP2 class in
Beautiful
BSB?
bikes.
You know, the people that are competing in that, it's their world. They know all the bikes, the ins and outs, the frame, the like obsessed with it. But if you just took like a random 50 people at any BSB meeting and asked like the top 3 in the GP2 class, no, but like unless you're into it, it's a bit of a niche thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I would say personally, I do love watching the twin class, but I don't know if that's just because I've got like I might be in that bubble and like got friends in it.
But you'll probably be in the same boat. It's the fact that it's the engineering develop like this. The twin
that's
R
cool.
ride. It's a 40 grand. That's a superbike.
Yeah.
Well, there's
It's a
more.
40
There's
grand
more goes into them than a superbike because you're allowed to do more.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like
it's almost
wheels.
like a Moto 2 bike, really.
It
for
is.
me,
It's a GP project almost.
Yeah.
That's it, and they just think, it's going to be exciting times when you're stepping up under that, and it really is.
And it does look proper
It
cool.
looks mint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got obviously all the fuel tank, and it's all monocoque now. The whole lot is all one piece. All carbon.
We've seen it. It's a work of art. I'm like, Chrissy, distracted my mouth with this one. It's going on the count.
Yeah.
650
It's a question
this
for you
way.
then. So we've got obviously there's the Northwest and then the TT, and in between we've got BSB. So there's a BSB round at just a random sort like say Snetterton or something, and on the Sunday of the BSB race is the first night of practice at the TT.
Yep.
So do you just forfeit the first night of practice?
Yep.
In terms of the structure of the team, do you have an Arctic lorry over on the island, and then what
So
do you,
we're all at the BSB, which will be Donington.
and then what do you take over the TT?
Everything.
How on earth do you get everything out there?
Just chip it.
I'll get that violin back out.
Yeah.
So do you pack away on Sunday night and
Yeah.
then drive the
Yeah.
whole lorry?
Yeah, drive the whole lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
How it actually works normally is it's Alton Park BSB, which is May Bank holiday.
Yeah.
We then go straight from Alton Park straight to the Liverpool ferry to get to Belfast to then do the Northwest that week.
Yeah.
We then come straight back and do a BSB round. And then we normally miss the first night of practice and then go straight from there to the TT for 2 weeks. And then we come straight back from TT and go to Knockhill.
I've got a great idea.
That's normally how
So
it works.
if I leave my van at Alton Park and hitch the Chasing the Racing trailer onto the back of your FHO trailer, come over the TT for 2 weeks, easy. I think I'll sort a deal out after this
I
podcast.
tell you what, it's either that or we've made their lives a living hell. You know that, don't you? Because this is going to be out in a couple of weeks, and the sheer fact that Faye will be watching this going, change of plan, chaps.
She's looking forward to the TT. Well, to
bet.
the road. She's really looking forward. She enjoys it anyway.
So in terms of the road
Is she-
schedule, you're doing the Northwest, TT, Macau.
Yeah, Ulster if it goes ahead.
Ulster if it
I was
goes
about to say, what do you lads know on the Ulster front? You know, it's a bit like I started that rumour that Faye bought it. That's obviously blown out, which I'm gutted about. But
So I've been told it's more than likely going ahead.
because Mervin's at the helm, isn't he? With Philip McCallan, and
Yeah.
I think that the couple of passionate lads.
Yeah.
One of your first questions, Chrissy, from this was like, how confident are you? And I think everyone's. What is it you're saying? It's your heart ruling your head, and it's like I think that's the generation we're in now, isn't it? And you're like, I really, really hope it is. But
I think it was all good. Everything was good until this Omicron thing's kicked everyone in the knackers.
Oh, you've missed this, Pick. Let's have your
Yeah,
opinion.
no,
Yeah, we had a little bit of a COVID kind
Rant.
of session. Yeah. You can already tell his answer.
Comments,
Can
do you know?
Can we just get on, please?
It's just
Next
here's what
question.
it is. Let's just live life.
Yeah.
Get on.
That's kind
Pretty
of
much what I said.
If you're
Why
going to
did
get
you
it,
answer
you're going to
like
get
that?
it anyway. Yeah, it's just simple as, you know. If you are vulnerable and all that, then just stay at home for a bit. If not, let's just get on. It kills
Are
me.
you two friends? Or yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think most people are like that in racing, though.
Oh God,
I do.
It's the
I think
attitude,
most
isn't
people
it?
are just
Probably
like,
the
come on, let's
mentality,
get on.
innit?
That's
Sports
it.
mentality.
So what's the plan for the BSB front this year? What any radical changes bar you losing 8 stone? You know, it's,
Are you back on a diet?
It starts on the 4th of January, which is
yeah.
a come back from the States.
Darren's obviously feeding him laxatives because a lot of shite roll there.
Yeah, that's what I like. We've got the loo roll.
Are you going? Are you going to boot camp?
No, we're going to Texas. Does that even taste any good? That
It's
When I
meant to
can.
be fair, actually.
you would say
No,
that.
it's not.
You're
mate,
just saying
mate,
that.
I've like
Is
welded
it not
that
Red
to-
Bull in a different can?
I didn't try it. See
It's
for
a good.
yourself.
This is an audible show, but if you want to watch YouTube and get my answer,
Yeah, go on.
get it down you.
I didn't
I'm
think
going-
it existed. I've seen
It does actually
Would you like
exist.
one?
Yeah.
Would you like one as
Do you
well?
want one? Do you want that one?
I'll take one home and put it in a picture frame.
Look, kids. Oh, mint.
But while I remember the MCN shows, I think it's the 11th to the 13th of February down at the XL show.
Something like that.
So I think we do a practice on the Thursday, but it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. So all of the basically very similar to the NEC, like all the manufacturers are there. Are you taking your stand?
Yes, that's the plan. Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. So I'll be there with my stand, and also obviously being team captain for the flat track.
Yeah, so loads of people will be down there. So if anyone's in the London area, it'll be good to catch up there.
Do they pick the team or do we?
I don't know. I don't know how we're doing it.
Boasty sorting it, I think.
Oh God.
What is he deciding who goes where?
I believe so. Yeah.
Ah, so we're not getting to pick
Well,
it out of a hat.
you'll have a choice of between. There's us two. There's the Neve brothers. So what?
Are you riding as well?
Yeah,
I'm riding as well.
Yeah,
so he knows he's not picking me. Him and John are going to be on the phone going, anyone but Dom, mate, I'll give you some money to get rid of him.
That'll be a good laugh. I am. Are you good enough for that?
Depends.
Not now.
It just depends on
How busy.
bikes and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, I tell you what, I was going to ask. While we're talking about the roads thing, we didn't talk about the middleweight class. You've always been a Triumph man. Are you? What's the scores on the doors?
So I've been a Triumph man 17, 18, 19. 2020, I was going to be on an R6.
Yeah.
I was going to be on a Yam, but...
which we still have.
Yeah,
Still
which we
not
still
turned
got
over.
it. Yeah, no, it's still brand new.
What was the why the change? What was the plan behind the Yamaha?
Just the 675 Triumph was a mega bike, awesome bike, just really long in the tooth compared to everything else on the grid.
Yeah.
Especially with the newer rules that had come out, it kind of hampered the Triumph quite a lot, more so than other bikes. Like you weren't allowed to run a kit Jenny, you couldn't run certain other bits and pieces, and it really hurt the Triumph for whatever reason. So we were a good kind of 7 to 10 horsepower down on everything else, which is a massive chunk.
Is that even including like the Lee Johnson fight? That is
Yeah,
so fantastic.
mega
That was
really good.
as far as road racing grades, that's definitely up there. That was
Yeah,
so
5-6
unbelievable.
horsepower plus like 6 stone.
Exactly, yeah. My left leg weighs the same as Lee. So.
But that was some fight.
He's a great
that
lad,
mind.
mind.
Yeah,
really.
mega. And like that. Even that race, we were really close, and we put some. I wouldn't say they were hard moves. No, not harsh moves. They were hard moves, but never once did I crap myself thinking, "Oh my God, what's he going to do next?" Like we were so in tune with where each of us were.
That's respect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just proper
The
respect.
thing is, you could only do that with someone that you really.
really
Otherwise, you would
confident
if
with,
somebody dodgy came, you would sort of give them a bit of space.
Yeah. You won't be doing that with Andy Irwin, would you?
You've had
me and Andy get on really well actually, so he'll be fine with me saying that.
I know, because you had that thing.
Disclosure there.
Maybe. You might have texted me already.
You had that thing at Thrux. Now, my little sister Grace edits these, so I got to stick that little thing. Do you know when one of you, did you stick your fingers up?
Yeah, I gave him the V's.
Yeah, that was funny. And then Donington this year, you were like proper getting stuck into each other.
Yeah, and to be fair, it was. Do you know what the best thing about that was? He got all the blame for that, just because everyone just expected it to be him. It was all me.
It was you. It was fair play for you. I'm saying it, but yeah, it was like I've never seen you ride. Honestly, I've never seen you ride like that ever.
Can't admit it.
Did someone like sort of we in your cornflakes that morning or something?
Yeah,
you're like so
Because he's too nice. He's too soft.
Did you give him
sometimes?
Did you give him a pep talk on the grid?
I said a few words to him.
Come on then, come on! Don't be shy.
I got bullied a lot in the first race.
Yeah, he
hadn't
did,
I?
yeah.
I'd been I'd gone backwards, and I had real strong pace to win, and it had all gone wrong in the first race. And he always has a bit of a saying on the grid, which we definitely cannot say on air.
No, we can't.
But anyways, the last words that he says to me, you can probably guess. But yeah.
Pull your.
No, it's
not even that. Yeah, it's way worse than that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd been kind of like, that had happened in that race. And someone had hit me, and I'd been moved out, and I ended up, I don't know where, I ended up 7th or 8th or something. And I should have been on the podium, and I wasn't. And at the start of that day, he was like, right, I'm not even messing about now. Like, says the words that he says. And unfortunately, Andy was on the receiving end.
Were you just standing there, Carl? He's listened.
I was actually quite happy at the time, and then I was a bit.
I tell you,
Someone's going to get
is
it.
it? So I was speaking to Alex Olsen about this earlier in the year,
What
and
a fella he is.
he was saying with the dynamics with obviously Faye and Stewart being in race control, he felt that it's you almost a little bit like what you were saying earlier about like making things are too fair, so like almost favoritising the other rider to like make the point. And he was saying that he felt like anything he does, he gets overly penalised to like make a point that it's like there's no favouritism going on. Do you feel like that is the case and it must be a
Even
real...
just silly things like scrutineering, they'll pick up on the stupidest of things that they'll never say anything like. On the BM, generally, you don't need a shark fin because of the way the swing arm is.
Yeah.
All right.
We never ran one, ever, on this current bike. And then about 4 rounds in, you need a shark fin. Oh, no, we don't need one on this. Yeah, you do. And you'd look at another bike. Well, they ain't got one. No, but you need one. And that is literally how it was. And it's like,
it must be an... Okay. Because it is an awkward dynamic, isn't it, the whole thing?
Yeah, he's just trying to make sure that he's not favoritising. Favoritising.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, what is
that?
Can't even speak. Yeah.
Was that was the rich engine what you expected, by the way?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
So go on.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to favoritise our team or be seen to be favouritising our team over anyone else. So he definitely scrutinises us a bit more.
And
which is fair enough. You know, we all kind of get it. You know, he can't be seen to be doing anything of the sort, but it can make the team's life a bit hard. It wasn't so bad for me.
I've seen you have a bit of fun on social media with like the fans about it.
Yeah,
on the BSB page.
Yeah. You got to have a little bit of fun.
Bit of crack.
It's been alright. To be honest, it's been alright. It's been
fine, hasn't it?
It's been absolutely fine. No dramas really.
Well, I asked Pete this earlier in terms of having a phase your boss. Do you have like quite a friendly, relaxed relationship, or is it quite business and it's quite straight?
No, it's quite friendly and relaxed. To a point, she, as long as it's going the way she wants it to go, everything's cool, right? Which is fair enough. If it's not going right, people need to speak up, don't they? There's no point in just shying away from it. So, and I'd rather that. I'd rather just say I'm not happy about this, and then you can fix it. Yeah. If they keep quiet, you can't fix it, can you? So, and she's mint, she's good, and the main thing is, which I've said from day one, you've got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, just stop. Yeah. There's no point.
Looking ahead into this year, and I know we mentioned this as well. Ryan Vickers you've just signed Ryan Vickers as I was going to say the number 2 rider, but it's not the number 2. It's like as the other rider in the team. If you had to sort of look ahead, and how do you see Ryan fitting in terms of like the pack? Where do you sort of see his results? Where would you predict he sort of finishes in the championship?
I actually think he'll surprise a lot of people because he is fast.
Yes.
He's 25 out in Cadwell. He's fast.
Crazy, yeah.
I don't know him that well. Obviously, I've looked at him. I've looked at his results. He's actually finished a lot more races than you think. A lot of his crashes have been in practice. I think from chatting to him and stuff, he just needs a bit of love, if that makes sense. And he's obviously going to be working with Bucks, crew chief James Buckingham, he's good at that. Yeah. I'm not, but he is. He'll put his arm around it. Everything's going to be cool. You are fast. You are this. You are that. You don't need to win FP1. And I think the combination of them two will be really, really good.
Yeah, he used to be Martin Jessup's guy, didn't he? But
yes, yeah, he did. Yeah, and he's mega.
Why don't you say that to me?
What?
Because you don't deserve it.
Because you're different people, innit? You need to kick up the arse. He needs a bit of love.
Yeah.
How do you think he'll settle with the BM? Because like.
He's only ever ridden a Kawasaki from a superbike.
That's what I mean. Because
I think about right. Because the chassis is mega. Honestly, the chassis is so good.
I was about to say you are the perfect comparison with that. Because you went from Kawasaki to BM, so like the Kawasaki,
well, the new BMW is so different compared to the old one.
Because like Kawasaki is based like putting facts on paper, it's based on Jonathan Ray.
Yeah.
He drives in it so deep into the corner, turns, and it's just.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, proper European riding, and like Ryan, when you watch him, he's just all chest, isn't he? He's just all hanging off the edge of it, and the fact that he did a 25, that 125, it was just.
I bet you look.
And that's on the ear of the tyre. So do you reckon his style will suit the BM better, or?
Yeah, I think it's not just about the bike; it's about the team environment. Yes. I think that will be better for him. Where he's at now compared to where he has been. Nothing against where he has been, but where
he's like a carbon cut because you went from Lee.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's mad, isn't it? It's
a little bit like that. But I did the Kawasaki thing in between, but with GB Moto. But yeah, I think the team environment and the people that he's actually going to have around him, and the fact he's going to have data to look at. Like he's even got all of this year's data to look at if he wants to.
Massive head start.
He's got a massive kind of head start almost. You can hit the ground running and go. Actually, I need to be here. And the team already know the bike needs to be in this part and this circuit we go here and it's this gearing. You got all that stuff's out of the way. Where he's had to do all that himself pretty much. I know they had the data from Jake Dixon and all the rest of it, but he rides so different.
Yeah.
And different years are different anyway. You know, you go from, if you went to Cadwell Park and do whatever time you do on one weekend, if you go the very next weekend, 1 week later, the bike setup will be different. They just do. The weather changes, you've had
It's like that
a track day in between and a car day or whatever it may be. Everything always changes. The date is only relevant so far.
It's like Alton Park this year. If you look at all the classes, there were completely different results from round 1 to round like 7 or whatever it was.
And nearly always the second time is slower than the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
This year wasn't, but nearly always it is.
That's odd.
And what based on?
Well,
And a guess.
Track conditions,
Track
weather.
conditions,
Weather.
So is it like more rubber on the track slowing the bike down?
Possibly, or the fact that maybe there's nearly always touring cars. I think the week before the second Alton Park for us, I think that's always how it's been.
That's it. Just proper intricate. Like our listeners, I'm sitting here going, well, why? But there's obviously if there's a pattern,
it's something that I've always picked up on and gone, look, this round is always slower than the earlier round in the year.
That's
and I'm always shouting at him.
He's good.
You went quicker last time.
I tell you what. Before we move on, from bike change and stuff like that, the Yamahas this year,
Mega.
Jesus, where's that? Where's that come from?
Everywhere, every championship. Yeah.
It has, hasn't it? You know what I mean?
Consistency, I think, most of it. They've all the team's pretty much the same, riders are pretty much the same, and obviously the bikes probably not massively different, but they've learned from one year and they're starting FP1 with a bike that they know can win on already. So I think, and it's a good team. They're all the lads are mega.
Both riders haven't been confirmed yet, but just going off the rumours that Sykesy and Haslam are coming back to the British Championship, which one do you think is going to be the biggest threat to win the championship?
Out of the two of them, I would say Leon.
Leon, I'd say Leon.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got the experience. He's already ridden bikes without electronics and stuff here already recently as well.
But you wouldn't bet against Tom either, would you?
No, you wouldn't. No,
on a Ducati.
So. If Tom's been listening to these last few podcasts, in
that's
fact,
if he's on a Ducati.
We'll have actually got Tom coming on the podcast soon, so we'll have a good bit crack with him.
Is he going to tell you who's riding for or not?
Hopefully by that point.
We're telling everyone anyway.
Quick one as well. I know you did a little bit of World Endurance with some really, really high quality teammates, different tyres, completely different bike. What was the experience like, and how did in terms of the differences in terms of the BSB spec to the World Endurance Championship spec? What's different?
Really good. I really enjoy the endurance. I've done quite a bit actually endurance riding. I've done 3 Le Mans 24 hours. I've done Suzuka 8 hour, Slovakia 8 hour, the Doha 8 hour, the Qatar. Where else have I been? Estoril 12 hour. So I've done quite a bit of endurance. I really enjoy the endurance dynamic. It's very different riding a bike that other people have got to ride as well. So you have to make a compromise. Something I've actually normally been pretty good at anyway is I can ride pretty much anyone's bike that's anyone else has set up. I can pretty much ride it to its limit ish. It was riding with the BM Championship or BM team, the official BM team in endurance was pretty awesome. I know the team boss Steve. He's really, really good, really clever guy, and it was nice to put my opinion across and have people listen as well. I think the bike does this, and I think it feels like that, and I feel like we need to do, and they kind of sit up and take notice, and they can see it on the data as well, and they kind of confirm that and. It was good. It was just a shame I fell out of the lead really at Estoril, but apart from that, it was mint.
And you were along for the journeys on that one, or?
So I've done Le Mans, Slovakia, and Suzuka.
With Peter.
And Suzuka,
So it was a bit like every time your phone goes off, you think, "What the hell's he signing to now?"
Basically, busy year that was. That was a busy year.
18, I think I did 48 race weekends out of 52
wow,
weeks in
Jesus,
the year.
That's busy.
So are you at the flat track where you'll be the only one with a crew chief on the... You can shave half a second there. Come on,
Bit of a swerve ball question, but obviously together you've been all around the world. You've done loads and loads, I think, around this country and all around the world. What's the best place you've been for a night out?
Whoa, it'd be close for Macau
and Thailand.
Give us your top 3. So Macau, Thailand.
Yeah, Macau, Thailand's been pretty good. And then you're either going to have to go with Northwest
is
or the Ulster, because Belfast is a mega night out.
But you can't. The Northwest is just...
Northwest is pretty cool.
It's good, isn't it? That
what yourself? I can see you.
I'm thinking really. I'm not. I
hope
it is a good night.
I hope he comes up with Istanbul 72.
Lads.
Lads.
Ibiza. Yeah, we've had a real good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you went with Cox, didn't you?
Yeah, Cox. Yeah,
we class that.
Yeah, I went a couple of times this year.
You've done the Cemetery Road race, haven't you?
Yes.
In New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, what's that like for a party out there?
Yeah, good fun actually. So one of my favourite experiences is doing scrutineering on Christmas Day. So I got up Christmas morning, we all did our little presents or whatever. We had a water fight. When do you have a water fight on Christmas Day? But we did. And then in the afternoon you go and scrutineer, so you get all your leathers and all your bikes done and all the rest of it, and then Boxing Day is the race.
I tell you what, it's so on my bucket list. You have no, I've been wanting to do it.
I tell you what,
for so long.
I've not done it. I didn't go.
The cemetery
We'll go.
circuit.
Screw him.
Yeah.
He's been
I mean,
I tell you what, it's a
much easier than.
tough little track as well, and you get next to naff all like practice. So I was there and they were like, oh, you're going to get like 10-15 minutes practice. I got 4 laps in, that was it. Bear in mind it's only a 50-second lap, so I did 4 laps and checkered flag was out. I was like, what? That's practice done, straight into qualifying.
You've never done a national
No,
Irish road
no,
race,
I
have
haven't,
you?
no.
Welcome to that's the deep
Yeah.
end, son. Yeah.
So I did qualifying. I got 6 laps in qualifying, so I was
I do remember
So
your
I'd
first
done-
session ringing me. What do you think about this?
Are you in bed? Mate, it's the other side of the world, mate.
So yeah, it was definitely thrown into the deep end, but I did manage to win the final race of the day, which is the main race as well, which was cool, which is the Robert Holden Trophy, which I was the first non-Southern Hemisphere rider to win it in 25 years or something,
Was this?
and the first non-Japanese bike to win it in so long as well, because I was on a BM.
There we go. Was that the footage of the guy and you just reeled him in? On
Yeah.
the last lap? It was just like it was almost like he was waving.
He
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
He actually was. So he thought he had that big a lead that.
Pulled some wheelies and
Yeah, he literally was pulling wheelies and everything. Yeah, and then I drilled him into the last corner. Yeah.
Mate, I remember watching that going. That is outstanding.
The second to last corner, I thought, I'm nearly close enough. And he actually just then popped a little wheelie and waved to the right hand side. I thought, you are done. I'm in. Because I thought, I'm not quite close enough. But as soon as that wheel came up, I was like, yes,
This is mine.
that's my
I
moment.
tell you, I wonder if he's doing a podcast and they were sort of like, I can't believe I did that wheelie. That was outstanding, crack, man.
I've got loads of Patreon questions that I'll quickly go through, but just before
All aimed at Darren. Yeah,
You've
so
got
that's
we didn't know Darren was coming on, so by
alright.
luck you might have a few. But just before that, an absolutely incredible weekend at Cadwell Park BSB this year.
Not too bad, was
that's the best I've ever seen you ride short circuits. It was absolutely
Yeah, it was.
awesome. You rode incredibly well. Obviously the bike must have been very well set up for it, and just a fantastic weekend all around.
yeah,
I bet you were
mate.
chuffed a bit, were you?
yeah, no, it's mega. Yeah, again, you think it's a perfect weekend, but then you're annoyed about the last race.
And do you know what? The last
could
race
have
was
been?
probably the fastest, strongest race
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So the lap record now is a 26.3 at Cadwell, which I did on the Saturday. But in that last race, you can't quote me on it fully, but there's something like 8 laps that I did a 26.4 on. So I did like 8 laps-ish in a row, where it was like 26.4, 26.4, 26.4, 26.4, 26.4, and I still didn't win. So within a tenth
Got
of the
excited.
within a tenth of the lap record for a good, half the race pretty much at least, and still didn't actually win.
Who won the last one?
O'Halloran. Only really because I'm gonna call Hoodie out on it.
Yeah.
So maybe he's gonna be listening. He's definitely gonna be listening because I'm gonna tell him to. Plus 0 on the board, and I had 0.3. So for me, that's his fault. I think to be fair to him, I think Jason was actually really close over the mountain on going on to the last lap, and then he had a bit of a moment coming out the last corner. So I'd actually gapped him across the start line.
Let mind Lee, when we had Lee Hardy on the podcast, he was saying that your dad always used to do your pitbull, and he always used to give like you much less than what you actually
always.
So like you've got
And quite often what I used to do is he'd stick it out and you shout, because you call him Sid, you'd like, Sid, and he'd hear you look round and he's already gone. Did that
missed
a lot.
it.
Where does
Did
that
that a
come
lot.
from? Is that a nickname?
Yeah,
He couldn't remember everybody's name, could he, in a team or something?
I thought it was from. Is it not a reference from the Viz magazine?
No.
Harry
House
Pet.
pet.
Yeah.
showing your age there.
Yeah, I don't remember this.
Right, Patreon question. So first on Andy Graham. How Pete, will you be doing any EWC rounds next season?
It's not on the cards at the minute. I'd love to if I get the opportunity, but as it stands at the moment, I don't have anything.
Sorry, is there anything that you can't do? Like Fey team wise, is there anything that you like? We're not letting you do that.
I have to run everything past her. So anything that I want to do extra, even as far as doing the flat tracking and stuff like that, then I have to run it past her, and then it's her decision on whether I go or not. And then, of course, always the final thing is it's on your own risk.
Yeah.
Because obviously if I go and hurt myself doing something that's not what I'm getting paid to do, I will then obviously lose out on my wages, because you don't just get paid for the sake of getting paid, of course.
That's fair, though, yeah.
Of course, it's self-employment, that, isn't it? If you don't work, you don't get
Same
paid.
guy, so Andy again. Would you consider doing Pikes Peak hill climb in America?
Oh, it's gone.
Nearly did it.
I was so close, yeah. I actually entered as well. So I entered in 2018. I missed the entry by like a week or something daft, which is really early in the year anyway, and they still knocked my entry back, which I was really disappointed in. It was going to be a semi-factory effort with BMW as well, which you'd have thought they'd have really jumped at the chance. It was on an S1000R, so like a sit-up and beg version, which would have been perfect for that. And I was really, really looking forward to it. And going, I know we mentioned Texas briefly about boot camp. I always go and do the Colin Edwards boot camp. Well, Joe Prusciano, who's one of the instructors there, he's won Pikes Peak 3 times. So like when it was all happening, I was straight on the phone to him like, there's a possibility I'm doing Pikes Peak, and he was like, mate, I'll be there, I'll help you, I'll teach you what you need to know, and anything you need to know, just ask, I'll come and help. So it'd have been a really, really cool thing to do. And now obviously bikes aren't even they're banned, or they have been at least for a while now anyway, so a couple of years. I know COVID and all that's happened as well.
It's a hard thing to bring back though, isn't it, once they've put a stamp on it saying well, we're not
Never
doing
say
it because of this. You hope so.
I think it was after 19, wasn't it? After 19 was the last time bikes ran. Then they said, right, we're not bringing bikes back anymore.
It was Tony Rose's question I stole before about taking money out of the equation. You're only allowed to do short circular roads. Which obviously you answered, but it was a great question. Jacob Cuthbertson's asking about the new M1000RR. Do you think it'll be as strong on the roads? To add to that, the changes to the M over the last few years, where do you think it'll benefit you at the TT?
Well, the engine for a start.
Yeah, just a stronger engine.
Yeah, because
chassis is quite a lot different. As in, the head angle's open. It's longer, so it's going to be more stable. It'll
should be a good road bike, and it was already. Like I said already, 19 was on a stock engine.
So
on a bike we didn't know.
So 135.4.
Yeah.
Talking about all these benefits, comfier, lighter.
Yeah,
everything's mounting up the right direction now. You can never ever say it's your year at the TT. That is the beauty of the place. You know what I mean? And you need lady luck on your side, but the way you're feeling now, spit me a figure out. Right now,
it depends if you have to do it. Yeah, I genuinely believe he can do 135 on a stocker. I think he can do that on the new Superstock bike, and I think 136 is definitely possible, but only if you have to.
Yeah. So if someone was out there doing 137, you think you could probably lift your game type of thing.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
incredible, that, isn't it?
From where we're at now, in 18, if it hadn't have been for back markers and bits and pieces, I think it would have been 136 then.
Right.
And this bike's better than that.
Yeah.
So to go from 136 to 137, I think it's between 5 and 7 seconds, something like that. That is probably fairly possible with this bike. So you are somewhere near a high 36 at least, I think, if you had to be.
Being brutally honest, who were the contenders? Dean is stepping up. You know, he's a 134 man.
Yeah.
But so,
do you know what? Connor's been really strong last couple of years. You can never rule out MD. I think it depends what side of the bed he gets up on and whether he's happy in his little camp or whatever.
Do you know what Hutchie's doing next year? Oh, this year, sorry.
I was told he was on a Yamaha, now he's on a BM.
Right.
Has it gone back to a BM?
I've been told. Could be a load of crap.
Right.
I've been told that. So.
Right.
I thought it was Yamaha.
Well, we had Steve on.
Really,
Steve said he's not on Yamaha, didn't he, last week?
Yeah, so I was told he's not on Yamaha and he's going on a BM.
Right,
whether he's doing his own thing or what, I don't know. But
it'd be interesting because, really, like you're saying, that's the barrier to lift to is 130. So you know when you put the worst you can do at any race meeting is look at your ideals. Isn't it? You know what I mean? And unfortunately, my dad decided to pipe up one night and tell me my ideal, and now it's cursed me. You know what I mean? It's like it's nowhere near you, but it's a 131 plus. You know, and it's like, but what's yours?
I don't know, but
your dad will ring you up going, I've just listened to the pod.
It totally depends.
Your dreams
it totally depends for your ideal how many sectors you split it into as well, because the more sectors you split it into, the higher it goes. So if you split, are you going off like the TT
6.
official?
Yeah, six. So bang, 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 bang.
If you put your 6 best together,
4 of them were on that lap.
Right.
So the
and Dean had the other 2, didn't he?
Dean had the other 2.
Dean's best 2 and your best 4.
I think we're all on the same.
Dean's along the bottom, isn't he?
Yeah, so the first 2 sectors were kind of like Dean's, if you like.
I tell you what, that's the only I think it was a damn practice, and I think it was the night last qualifying through Glen Helen. You were the only person quicker than me. I was faster than Dean Harrison, Michael, and everyone on 600. My dad rang us up and went, what the fuck? He doesn't swear, but I could hear it in his mumbling, going, what are you doing? I'm going, don't know, it was a bit damp. I don't think. Can you screen save that for me? And how do you screen save? It was an argument that went on for it.
From every TT now, your dad's going to be chucking water on.
That's it.
Go on, Dom.
That's it. Go catch the lad with a bat, son.
So sort of ties in with that. Sam Higgington was asking about like what the sort of limitations are to, but so difficult, and especially with the track always improving as well.
Yeah, and tyres improve as well.
I think tyres
because you're Dunlop and Dean's
now
got Dunlop.
Dunlop.
Dunlop's on Dunlops.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Got so many. This is the most Patreon questions I think we've ever had. Andrew Jones, hi Pete. With 2 years away. Will 2 years away from the mountain course change your approach for 2022, or are you confident enough to go there and be as fast straight out the box? And what did you think of the? And you'll have to tell us the pronunciation. The circuit begin with F. The one you tell
Okay,
what's it called?
Forheen.
Is it an Irish national?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. What? First question and then second.
No, I don't think it will change at all, to be quite honest. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's going to take a few. It's going to be steady and all that." But I honestly don't think it is. I think it will depend a little bit on Northwest. If Northwest is a good weather week, then TT will be fast. Anyone who's got some experience around there will just be fast straight away as they are anyway.
Yeah.
The approach is always the same for me. I'm there to enjoy myself, do some wheelies and skids, and have a laugh with my mates. Really, that's always been my approach to the TT. It always will be. Obviously, I want to win, but that isn't my goal for going. I want to go and enjoy myself and ride a bike around probably the best place in the world.
Yeah.
And then Forheen, which is where I was in Ireland last weekend. I was down with Brian. And sorting out a little bit of things to do with the Ovali Island company and stuff like that. And the guy who helps me with that is a guy called Cahill, and he lives just off turn 1 on the Forheen track. So I went to his house, we did all the stock takes and all that kind of rubbish that you need to do, and then he was like, "Oh, fancy a lap of the circuit then?" So I was like, obviously. So we had a little lap round Forheen 50 as it's called, and I did a little picture on the start line and put it up on my social media and asked everyone, do you know where I am or where am I? And I was surprised there's not that many people that actually got it right. There was lots of people thought it was the Isle of Wight.
I've never heard of it.
You never heard of Forheen at all, had you? Yeah. So I think unless you're into your national Irish nationals, then you wouldn't know anyway, really, would you? But
are we ever going to see you on a national circuit? And if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
Well, I say no.
He says,
we have a strong no.
Dad's already said no.
No.
Stop thinking about it.
Well, I'm thinking it for you, so shush. Yeah. If you had to pick one,
do you not like the idea of cling film on your tyres going to the start?
It's a man sport. Right? It's a man sport. You'll have to take up smoking. We've got you drinking. Now you'll have to take up smoking rollies. There you go.
Do you know what? Armoy's tried to always get me to Armoy for a long time now. The guys there have always been going, just come and do some demo laps. I'm like, I know exactly what that means.
You would love it. No, mate, I've seen you around a car park. You know what I mean? Like, tell you what, that's one thing I will miss from Norton. That car park race. Did you go to that?
No.
You would have said no. You would 100% no.
It was pretty dangerous.
It was outstandingly dangerous. I've seen Gary Thompson change colour. He's like, I'm the clog of the course, Gary Thompson. He's like, I haven't signed up to this. It's like flag drop and people crashing over this. Oh, it was mental.
It was good though, actually.
It was mint.
Really good question here, Andrew Bone. Are there any particular sections you can go quicker in? How much time would be saved if Ginger Hall through Churchtown was repaved?
Well, for starters, I wouldn't want it to be repaved. It's part of the TT character.
Is that mega bumpy?
Oh, it's so bumpy.
Mate,
you can't describe it. You can't. Even if you take someone in a car, they still don't get it. You can't. Until you do it, you do not understand how bad it is.
Your arse is not on the seat.
Yeah.
If that was,
you tell me you're a lot faster.
Just for argument's sake, if that was perfectly smooth, would it make quite a big difference to the lap time?
Not massively. A little bit, yes. It would have to make a little bit of difference, but not a lot. Because actually, from that Ginger Hall section, you go through the left and up over the next right through the horrible left. From that point, you pretty much pinned all the way to Iron Gates anyway, and then you're up through Concretrees, which is pinned all the way through, and then you're out of the bumpy bit. So for me, not really. A little bit, yes, but not a lot.
You know what I love about that bit? It's the instant relief. Yeah, it's like holding the when you really need a piss, and then you're like, oh, it's literally that. You when you bank in on the left, it's like, oh, and then it's a really committed right hand, and you're like, it's like, oh. Now the easy bit.
It is a bit like that.
It is, isn't it? It's mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental.
Another Mike Orton mentioned is it 14? And asking about just what you've been talking about, asking about would you consider Irish nationals? If you could ride any bike around any circuit, any era, what would you choose?
Ooh.
Any bike, any circuit, any era.
That's a good question, Mike.
So I think there's a couple of different ones. But I think if I was going to have to go with somewhere, I'd probably go with an Assen original circuit. It'd be Assen or Brno, or the Czech Republic Grand Prix when it was back like a 14-miler. It was a bit like, well, they were all road races then, really, when even the Assen one was. But it would be probably Assen, I think, out of the two, because I know it a bit more.
Yeah.
And what bike would I choose? Probably one of the first era of the proper, or the last era of the 500. It would be either a last era 500 or the first era of the MotoGP. I think.
It's got to be a 500.
500
Is that your dream era as well to work on? Two-stroke, man.
Yeah.
That's
because it's old, though, isn't it?
Another good one, Dewey Williams. Can you describe the feeling of going over St Ninian's Crossroads, standing on the pegs and heading down Bray Hill? Such respect for anyone who does the TT. Can I add? So can you answer that? But can I also add to you? How many laps did it take you to hold St Ninian's flat?
I can't describe it because it's not possible to describe how it feels.
Honestly.
Yeah, even the TTs in general, people will say, "Oh, how does it feel to go that fast?" I'm like, I can't describe it to you. There's no. It's a bit like trying to describe how bumpy it is through Ginger Hole. You can't. It's impossible to actually describe the feeling of riding a bike around the Isle of Man. Mull stop. St Ninian's is a pretty.
It's just like one massive orgasm. Like
pretty much, basically, yeah.
That's his life, to be honest. Pretty much his life.
And then one dripping mess.
Why did you turn up again?
The bits like that.
I'll tell you what, in many moons from now, I'm talking years down the line, here lies Peter Hickman. One massive orgasm. Imagine women going, wish I met him.
Most of them would have.
So, do you reckon that could be a good title for the book?
One
big orgasm.
Yeah, it is.
The second, like the only book that outsold 50 Shades of Grey.
That actually is a mega title for a book.
Did it take you quite a few laps to hold it flat, or was it quite easy?
Do you know what? I can't quite remember.
I mean, do you know, like, say when you take newcomers around now, do you advise to like roll and then do you sort of build up? Is that the sort of?
Yeah, I mean, the top of St Ninians, you've got to roll a bit anyway because the bike comes off the floor. So anywhere where you fully come off the floor, you've got to just pitch a little bit off.
Yeah.
So you can't do St Ninians flat, not on a big bike anyway.
Right.
You're always going to roll that little bit because of the jump.
Yeah.
And you've got to set yourself up for it. I'd have done it flat in my first year. That wasn't really an issue. In fact, the whole Bray Hill section that everyone always goes on about, I don't know what you think, Tom, but I never found it scary. I've never found it a problem. I've never gone, oh my god, every time. Like, I literally got on with it so well straight away. I did the bottom of Bray Hill flat in my first year, no problem at all. Like, for me, it's not a nothing corner, but it's kind of, because it's pinned, I find it really easy because all I've got to think about is I've just got to point and squirt.
Do you know, this isn't a Patreon question, but it's just kind of jumped into my head. Do you know sometimes there's them famous shots of, like, say, Hillier coming over that crest sideways and the big tank slapper and stuff? Have you ever had a moment that hasn't been caught on camera, but then you're like, oh, that was close?
Yeah, there's been a few. Not many. There's been less than a handful.
Just getting a bit crossed up and stuff?
No, not really
Wind's
crossed
caught you out
up.
a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, wind's caught me out a couple of times. Probably only really the once the wind caught me out. So in my first year, I didn't actually have a moment.
I remember you saying that.
There was one lap that Alpine that I ran out to the curb, but I knew I was running out to the curb. I was happy to run to the curb, and someone actually saw it and was like, "Oh, it was really close." And I was like, "No." I knew where I was going. Like, I had no problem with it. In my second year, I actually didn't have a moment the whole time until my last lap of the senior. So I nearly did the whole 2 weeks without it. And it was in 6th gear, which is never a good gear to be in to have a moment. Just before the 33rd, you come out of windy corner, flick left, already in top gear, and then you flick right, and then you kind of hold in a weird position on the road, really. And just as I crossed across the crown of the road, I went from off camber to on camber. But as I went from off, the wind hit me on the right hand side, and I took the front. So in top gear still. So I was just closing the gas and going for like a bit of 1 finger or 2 finger braking, and I actually closed the front completely in top gear, and then I didn't save it. It came back, and then I went down my 2 gears that I needed to and went left. Wow. And it was only really afterwards I was like, that was a bit close. Like that could have been quite bad very quickly and easily. But my biggest one that nobody's probably seen was senior the year after, in year 3, which I didn't really have a moment again for the whole 2 weeks. But I think, did we do 2 starts that year? Might have been this.
Was this 2018?
No, 16.
Oh, 16.
Kawasaki.
It was a Kawasaki. It was in the senior.
Don't remember.
No, maybe we didn't know because the bike broke down. That's what
Was
it was.
this Mark Smith-Halverson?
Yeah.
You might have missed it when he was on the podcast, but he was really singing your praises when you were riding, and he was saying like how he felt really bad because you were sort of better than the bike and the team at the TT that year, and he was proper like singing your praises anyway.
It was a tough year. It was a tough year to be a rider, and it was only my year 3, so I was still learning really. It was the first time I ever took a superbike around the TT course, because the first 2 years I did it on stockers. I didn't actually take a superbike for 2 years. And I did 3 laps in practice on it because it kept breaking down, and then went into the first race on the Saturday with 3 laps worth of practice on Motec, and then the team actually stayed up all night and put the kit electronics off the stocker onto the superbike because we only had 1 set of kit electronics. So they were up all night.
Men.
Yeah. What time did you go on the dyno? 3 in the morning?
3
in the morning.
Only in the Isle of Man you can do that, by the way. You know what I mean? It's a rolling road, open door.
Yeah, well, because all the sensors
police
were wrong.
station.
Yeah, even the wheel speed sensors were wrong because they wouldn't fit into the brackets that were there for the Motec because it was all just different. So then I set off and did the superbike race on a bike that was basically completely different feeling to what I had done on the 3 laps I'd ridden it. And I did 132.4 in that race, and I finished 4th, just off the podium, so I actually did all right in it. And then it dropped a valve in the last race. Well, while I was 3rd in the senior as well, so I was actually in front of McGuinness at the time, which I was peaking about. But I hit going way off track. But on the first lap, going through Bishop's Court, again in 6th gear, I hit my shoulder on the right hand bank when you go over Rencullen Jump, through the right, 5th top gear, through the left, and then I flicked the bike. You have to really move the bike really hard from left to right, and I went left to right that hard that I actually turned in too early, and I hit my shoulder on the bank on the right hand side. Jesus. And I actually pulled myself pretty much off the back of the bike, and then caught. I didn't let go of the bars, but I nearly went off the back of the bike.
But bear in mind, you were mid-wheelie on that part of the circuit anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're actually climbing back out, so that's impressive.
And I basically stayed online, and that's really the only reason that I didn't crash, is because I was online and the bike was going in the right direction. Otherwise, it could have been a lot worse. But
Jesus.
That's probably the biggest moment I've had that no one's seen, no one really knows about.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned him. McGuinness back on Honda.
Yeah. No, he's gone back home, hasn't he? Back to his comfy armchair.
So,
put his slippers on.
I was about to say, put his slippers on. So, what how do you, putting it blunt, how do you think he's going to get on?
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he might not be all right, but let's talk about
you
results.
won't bet against him, would you?
Oh, never.
You'd never bet against him.
No, I mean, I don't think he's going to be on a podium, is he? Unless there's a load of problems for a lot of us other guys. But he's going to be there or thereabouts. You know, he's not going to be slow. He's done nearly 133 miles around the place.
Is Bruce Anstey going to be back?
I don't know.
I think there's been whispers all over the place that he's focusing mainly on the classic TT.
Right.
So rumours, you know what I mean. But everyone wants Bruce back on the Isle of Man in some shape or form.
Another one of my questions, not the Patreon ones. I would say TT fortnight. Obviously, I'm sure you like to get out on like sort of clubbing and stuff on the night times. But with you being like the main man at the island, I bet it's easy to get like overwhelmed a little bit. Do you have to sort of pick places a little bit out of the way, or do you just go and
he's in the courthouse first?
The amount of people that must like sort of, I mean, all the there's hundreds of thousands of TT fans there, and for a lot of people, look, you'll be like their idol, and they'll like want selfies and everything. Do you get like bombarded?
Do you know what? On a night out, I don't think it's actually that bad. You get a few.
I keep asking, but you keep just saying fuck off. You know what I mean? It's really upsetting. Like, Peter, one photo, mate. One.
I tend to find the nights out are actually all right. You get a bit, obviously, and that's absolutely fine. It's cool. During the day is the worst at the TT.
Really?
You struggle to walk anywhere. I normally end up not wearing any team gear. I don't wear my white sponsor cap, which I'm meant to be wearing, because people notice the white cap. Like it's mad how people are drawn to something as daft as a white cap, but they are.
She's got like a stick-on moustache,
yeah,
a Jimmy Savile wig.
I've got the perfect disguise for you. We'll give you a Chasing Racing bobble hat, no looking knee. Not one soul.
I'm in for a free bobble hat.
We'll get you a bobble hat. You as well, Darren. They are.
There we go. Look,
I'm getting Darren one. They are.
We're actually sold out of them, so you can't buy them, so they'll be you can wear that with pride. Good.
If they're sold out and you can't buy them, I'll get double the money for that on eBay.
You will actually. If you stick that on eBay, you'll. Right, look, a few more thingy questions, Patreon questions. Steve Jacks, are there any standout riders in the O'Varley Championship that you think have the ability to go on the highest level? You mentioned that earlier. Yeah. Top lad.
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. It's interesting from being a rider that's come from all that kind of scene, if you like. I did mini motos as a start and all the rest of it, but because of the experience I've got, you can kind of see who's got it and who's not, even if they're not at the front yet. Like even somebody who's in 10th or 15th, you can just tell by the way that their mannerisms are on the bike, or even off the bike. You can tell whether someone's got it or not.
The right attitude.
Yeah, and there's definitely a good few in our championships that have got that. Harley's obviously been one. The winner of the 110 championship this year as well, Wilson Dilks, is only 8 years of age, which is ridiculous. And there was a race that he had this year that really impressed me, that I was there at and watched as well. And I picked up on certain things that his parents didn't even pick up on that he was doing, that I could see as a rider was like really clever.
That's cool.
And there's just little things like that. But there's quite a few, even like I say, even further down the field, there are riders that I've picked up on certain things and gone, that's quite an advanced thing to know, and they probably do it without them even realising they're doing it, but there's quite a few of them doing that.
Obviously you won't be able to name and shame because the customers, but with racer dads like notorious in the paddock.
Terrible.
Do you,
I don't even want to discuss it.
Is there times where you've got to pull them to one side and just say, look, you're actually holding back your kids, or do you kind of keep out of it and just let them crack on?
It depends on what's actually happening. There's a bit of both. I have done a bit of both. I've pulled people to one side and said, look, you just need to shut up and let them enjoy themselves, because at the end of the day, a bit like what you're saying with Faye, like if you're not enjoying it, there's no point anyway. So and most of these kids, they're all between 8 and 14. Like nobody needs to be putting them under pressure at all. Now, I don't care if they're trying to win the championship or not, it makes no difference. So there's been the odd occasion where I've gone, oi, you need to just back off a little bit, and every single time that's happened, the kid's gone better. Every time, to a point where there was actually one kid that went 3 seconds a lap faster in one session, just because the dad wasn't stood at the side of the track trying to get him to do stuff, and they were kept looking at the dad rather than looking at what they were doing. Wow. And by managing
to take a note,
by managing to actually get him to like step away, immediately they went 3 seconds faster the next session. Wow. I was like, that's why you need to just let him get on.
Yeah, it's
proofs in the pudding, isn't it? You can't lie with timesheets.
A really good question by Ray Carr, asking about the proposed changes to the TT schedule for 2023. Obviously, the we haven't actually discussed this at all on the podcast since it got released, but about the warm-up lap, which is
even next year, isn't it? Warm lap next year.
I think it is. It should be proposed 22.
They haven't even put the entries out yet, have they? There's no regulations, no. Honestly,
so like
I don't know.
In terms of the proposed regs, are you like, for example, the warm-up lap, that sort of thing? Are you
good?
It's good. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah. It's been a weird thing, the TT, that you'd do a Wednesday night evening practice before the senior, and then you wouldn't ride for 48 hours, and then all of a sudden you've got to do 185 mile an hour within about 4 seconds on Friday morning. Go on, Dom.
No. My opinion is, you were talking about the rawness and the nature of the TT. I like the idea of waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and not too long after that, you are sitting on the grid. Total playing field.
He never sees 8 o'clock in the morning.
I'm pushing me back through. I'm saying hello to you, Darren. Morning, Darren. Here's my bike. You know what I mean? Give it a once over. But it's, for me, it's the rawness. I totally get no. the game's got to move on.
Yeah.
The safety element, yes, the speed.
Yeah, there's a bit of everything, isn't there?
There is a bit of everything, but for me, it's the rawness of going down Bray Hill in the morning. Now, I tell you what's interesting about the warm-up lap element is you can go on any bike. On the warm-up lap, you can go on any bike.
Yeah.
So if it's a senior race, in theory, you could go on your Super Twin and do a warm-up lap on your Super Twin.
Yeah.
But this is the argument I had with Gary Thompson.
Track conditions. It's
No. But yeah, that is good on that side. But Gary runs such a great shape that the track is raceable. Period.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
When we're
yeah.
going off down the road, it's like a couple of bit of damp spots, but it's not. Anyway, but there is not enough time gap between the warm up lap. If you break down, say I'm on my stocker, blow a fuse, something silly, and I break down on the mountain, you have not got enough time to get back.
Well, obviously, yeah.
No, you know what I mean. By the time you get recovered, everything like you're not making the grid. So, but arguably, you want to be on the bike that you're about to
If
race.
you were going to
and
break
it's-
down on the warm-up lap, though, you would have broken down on the first lap of the race. So it's the same outcome. You're not finishing the race, are you?
No, but I'd rather.
He's actually got a good
No,
point.
it's touche Tom Cap, but you know what would kill me though? Imagine going to the senior TD and breaking down the warm-up lap. I'd rather break down the race out of pride.
Well, no. All right.
exactly the same
Well, then
thing.
your argument
Yeah, it is
is
the sa- it is
you
the
break
same.
down on the warm lap, you get back, you fix whatever it was, and then
But
you
you're not
actually
gonna
you get to finish a senior.
I totally agree, but it's the rawness.
They're not- no,
But
they're not-
If you
they're not
break
gonna
down
run-
the warm lap, you're not going to have time. And plus,
Depends what you break though. Like
Yeah.
if it's something catastrophic like an engine, then yeah, you're knackered. But you're going to be knackered anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree. We had this argument, not massive argument, boils me piss, but we're talking about control of race fuel and everyone says it's not a scam and stuff, but it's like the privateer sector. See, for me, totally agree. I'm on a budget.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo, you're in motorcycle racing, Dominic. You're in an expensive sport. I know that, I can face that. But you know what? If I line up on the grid and everyone else goes out for a warm-up lap, I'm going to force myself to do that warm-up lap. Because everyone's got that, feels like
Yeah,
that got that
yeah.
edge. You come in, you're going to slap another set of set
Yeah.
of tyres in, and you don't want to go out on scrubs and everything to get that different feel. You know, you're competing against. If you want to be in the top 10 at the senior, you've got to play the rules everyone else is.
Yeah.
Me, yes, it's a safety thing, but I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence for it.
He don't like change, does he?
No, no.
No.
They don't like spending
He's
money by the
stuck in his
sound of it.
ways, isn't he?
If I had no, you're right. You're right. I'm a stickler for tradition in some ways. You know what I mean? We should have tyre warmers. We should all smoke tabs.
when safety's a thingy, it's like for example the morning practice. You know, like people kept dying because of the low sun, and then you think, well, at what point do people? It's like needless deaths, isn't it? So like it's an easy fix not to have morning warm up. So
Yeah, but then you've got evening
Careful,
practice.
innit?
You know what I mean?
Careful.
There's going to be you're making the no, but you're making.
it's limiting like the obvious risks. You know, you're never going to make it 100% safe, but like silly risks like
but
that.
no,
It's,
oh, but for God's sake, if you don't feel safe, pull over, son. We're going to road racing. We're talking about this in the COVID thing. If you feel vulnerable, stay at home and knit some bloody cardigans. We're going to road racing. Fuck safety. You're out there having a right crack of your fucking life. Sorry.
You see what
that's
you've
been
started now?
Should have brought you a Snickers.
Sorry. This question was for you two. I am sorry, lads.
almost the other Patreon questions we've actually answered. So Tracy Dudley asked about this moment which we've kind of discussed, and Ted the Head asking about hypothetical lap speeds, which we've also asked. I think he's also put a link to, do you know when you did that lap on the when the new HP4 came out with that cam, which is what's the posh word for that?
Well, there's a gyro cam on the tank, but that one's not been fully released. It's the chin cam that I've
That
got.
is
that was
absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the best. Obviously, I've not done it myself, but you feel like you're
Yeah,
on
it's really
board with it.
immersive, isn't it, when you watch it
Yeah,
back?
incredible. No, them 3D. They brought out like 3D cinemas where you roll them glasses.
Yeah.
Imagine watching that in 3D. That would be like just incredible.
And that's a really slow lap as well. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's only a demo lap. I'm literally, I think that might be the first lap. I got told off anyway. I did 2 laps on it. I'm pretty sure that's the first night that I put up, and I actually got told off for going that fast. But it's actually only about 118 mile an hour average, so
but
it's
you're
nearly 3 minutes slower than where we are at 135.
But your commitment on a bike that you've never, like a bike that's
Oh, yeah,
never
I've
been
only just
around-
sat on it.
No, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. And the
Yeah, it's
sheer,
brand new.
You could see how light the thing was. You're coming out and it's just
And the
just,
gearing was a bit short, which is why
Yeah.
it would also rev through the gears real fast. But I had to bed the brakes in and everything. It was a brand spanking
Oh
new.
mate, it was
Crack
like,
the sump on it as well.
Yeah, broke the sump on it. Yeah, through the bottom of Bagara. So when actually nobody even noticed. So I did that night. Then I did the next night, and then it went to Portimao. Actually,
Yeah.
it went to Portimao for the launch of the HP4. So there's all these journalists. This was bike 001 as well. That's the bike that I rode, and it sat there overnight. And then when they got up in the morning, there was a pool of oil underneath it where the sump had been cracked, and it had obviously dripped like overnight. And nobody had noticed to that point, but that was all obviously from the TT.
Sounds a good man.
I've got two quick fire questions to finish on. I'm sorry, the first one. I've literally just been thinking about it as you were speaking there. I know the second one. The first one I'll come back to. Second one. So God forbid this ever happens, but if you found out that you couldn't race a motorbike ever again, like it's some illness or whatever, right now, what would be your single biggest regret?
In life, yeah.
Like right now? Is there anything you really wish you'd done?
From a racing point of view?
No, wait, in general, yeah.
I really, really want to ride a MotoGP bike of some sort, like a current crop MotoGP bike somewhere on a proper Grand Prix track.
Right.
So if there's anyone listening, I can sort this out.
Which the likelihood of me ever doing is like that big.
Well, hardly anyone in the world gets a chance.
Hold on. This is easy. Drop Feo, sign for Bill Base, put you on Suzuki.
That is a fair point.
I'm just making dreams come true, people. That's what I do.
I've remembered this out. I'm pleased that it happened in this order as well, because I really wouldn't have liked to finish the podcast on that one. Second one, what's the most obscure, weirdest place you've ever been recognised?
Ibiza.
Japan.
You can answer this one as well as being like, "Are you Hickman's?"
There's been like in supermarkets and stuff like that I've been kind of recognising where you wouldn't really.
I think Japan was a bit odd, really.
Yeah.
From BSB or from the TT?
Like
from TT.
It was from the TT.
Yeah.
Is there quite a follow?
Massive. Anywhere you go in the world,
right?
Everyone knows TT. Even if they're not into bikes, they know TT.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet that's awesome. That.
Yeah. It's quite an unusual thing, but yeah.
Mine was Whitley Bay 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Do people recognise? So have you been saying Japan and people recognise you as like Hickman's man?
No, not really. I try and hide out the way most of the time.
You don't normally see DAZ on a camera.
I'm normally just
anyway.
hide out the way a little bit.
We're gonna have to like put a strip across your eyes like SAS.
One of
you
the
know what I mean?
emojis or something.
Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm not really into all that. Really, I just stay out the way, do my own thing, and that's it.
Yeah, fair. I've sort of finished with all my quickfire. Have you got anything?
I don't know.
He's still raging about doing a warm up.
I think it's a good thing.
If you were in charge of the TT, would you have morning warm up? Right.
Yeah,
now?
100%.
Honestly.
100%.
Wow.
100%. My dad did it. You know what I mean? Your dad did the Isle of Man. You know what I mean? It was just like I'm ever pushing bikes up and scooting like time and G50s and like hold that. But like the noise that you're literally waiting for the sun to come up. The closest I've ever got, it's Macau first practice.
Yeah.
We're out first where the streets were
dark.
I remember asking you, going, "What's this going to be like?" It was my first time there. He goes, "The dirt, mate. The dirt is." Remember Dudgeon? He went quick. No, first lap. Newcomer,
it crashed right in front of me.
Never ever been there. Nothing. Went quicker than hit. And bearing in mind, he knows the track. And it was like, the dirt, mate, is phenomenal. They don't street sweep it, no nothing. There's oil on every bow and corner because they park cars permanently. And the dirt is on, like Northwest obliterates fairings, doesn't it?
Yeah,
first night, the crossing lines, they street sweep it as well. It literally like a shotgun, bang. Same at Macau. Dudgeon obliterated his back. I cut 2 laps in. It was a hell of a lap, to be fair.
He was starting his, what would it have been? So he'd done one. He was starting his 3rd lap. I was only starting lap 2, so I'm always late normally, getting out. So everyone had all gone, and then I had only just set off, and then I was expecting to like a Jessup and a Rutter to turn up, which they did. So like I only got to like turn 3, and I heard bikes behind, so I was like, all right, that's Jessup and Rutter like it would normally be. So I pulled over, let them through, and then I only got to like the top of San Francisco Hill, or maybe a little bit further along. I heard another bike. I was like, oh, who's that? Bear in mind, I'm only on my out lap, so I'm just cruising. I turned round and I didn't even know who it was. I had no idea who it was. I don't know what bike he was on. I was like, who even is that? Anyway, he passed me and just pretty much kind of cleared off. And I was like, all right, fair enough. We come out the last corner. I could still see him. And then he went into turn 1. And as I turned into turn 1, he was in the wall on the exit. And the bike was spinning down the track. And it was his 3rd ever lap.
Wait, what? Is it 6 back to 5th? It's been 2 years since we've been there.
It's 5th back to 4th.
That's
and
it.
He thought it was 5th. So he did it 1 gear too high and just railed through,
obliterated his back. I mean, like his back with like he crawled off the track. I was at like there's footage of it. I'm actually coming out of pit lane, like at that point, and like it's mad how they do operate. We are literally trying to finish a podcast here. Sorry, I do apologize. We'll talk about back surgery on the next episode. There you go.
Using the logic of like your dad or your granddad used to do it. That's like say wearing an open face helmet for like tradition.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? Right.
Like my granddad used to wear one.
I would love to. Oh, for God's sake!
That guy at Scarborough does wear one.
Bill Swallow, yeah.
Like, that is cool. That is cool to be fair to see. Cool. But you wouldn't do it, would you? No. You wouldn't do the TT.
No, but that for me, that's totally different. I think a track time to go. Like people forget about choice. You know what I mean? You don't have to do more and more, but if it's there, why not? You know what I mean? I would personally like to have that. I'm trying to think that nostalgia of being able to go off down Bray Hill.
That is a good example because you've got the choice at Scarborough to wear an open face helmet, but you would never choose to do it because.
Exactly.
So that's the
yeah, but you're making it sound like no. You don't, like, but that's the thing. But you don't like you're talking about options, but that's not.
Oh, you're saying so you should have the option to do a morning practice.
Yeah. No, but if it's there, I'll 100. That was the question. Would you do it? 100%, bloody 100% would I do it? 100%.
It'd be good to see it, but
if more and more happened, he didn't really want to do it, and you saw the rest of the grid going, you'd go, they're getting extra laps.
You'd have to do it.
Do you not think that's the whole point? Because you'd be sort of forced into doing something dangerous that you don't really want to do.
But then I go back to road racing, it's a great sport, and you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. So we're going to go down a needless rant here. Thank you very much for going on the show.
And I tell you what, I think I'm the only festive.
You are, very
festive.
We're a few days, 2 days before Christmas. Yeah, this podcast, to be fair, will go out like a week after as well. So, but whoever's listening to this, I really hope you've had a lovely Christmas with your friends and family. And to you both, I hope you. I hope you have a cracking day, not tomorrow, but the next day. All the best for next year. And massive thank you to our sponsors, Colchester Kawasaki, and to our patrons for all the support. And look forward to catching up soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And sorry about the rants.
Hopefully see you all at the motorcycle show 11th to the 13th of February.
Sounds good.
See you there. Take care.
I'll bring this energy. I'll bring it. Pick me.
Energy? I call it anger.
I'll tell you what, you were going to tell me what you're saying off air. You've got to. Right. Anyway, sorry. Thank you so much, lads.
Catch up soon.
Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.